undoubtedly a talent, comes from the Clark-Huggins school, if you like, because both of them were at one time at Leeds. And, you know, if the judgment is correct, those two were good signings. Let's hope Hjelde is.
Yes, indeed. Again, it's a big ask. We don't know how fit he is. It's okay playing 21s football, but when you've been thrown into first team football,
are you still using Google? I have something to show you.
Will he last the 90 minutes? I don't think so. Then
close you
also getting that understanding with his teammates. He's only had again, it's a big days with the team. Understanding how they play, getting that sort of partnership with maybe Jack Clark on this left-hand side. We all know that, you know, when Sirkin was playing as a left-back, he loved to drive forward, make them overlap, and get into the box. So it'll be interesting to see how Hjelde fits in. We all know that our record here at Middlesbrough is not very good. I think, first of all, fantastic performance last week. It was great to see the likes of Bar. The question is, and again, Burstow scoring, the question is, can we do it again? And it's that's what we talk about, consistency.
You say Burstow scoring, he's scored. I mean, he's not scoring, he's scored in the singular. One's going to hope that
funny enough
is the start.
I was talking to one of my colleagues just downstairs, and he showed me some stats, and the amount of players who've actually played as a striker, the shots which they've had, and the goals which they've scored, and it's only 2. And we've had,
I imagine, a lot of shots.
And we've had maybe 8, 9 players who's played as a so-called striker. So it just goes to show you where the problem is. And you look at the way Middlesbrough have set up for the lunchtime kickoff. They're going to play without a striker, so-called, but most probably they'll be looking at, obviously, Sam Greenwood is a very, very good player, clever player, and it's something which we need to sort out very early doors.
This left-back situation, I got a hint. We'll hear from Michael Beal before kick-off today, because he talks about Hjelde, he talks about Callum Styles as well, and he talked about both of them as left-backs, and he's clearly got an issue in his mind of Trey Hume going across and playing on the left-hand side. So that is something he's addressed today. He's thrown Hjelde straight in, and I think when you think about that decision and his comments about Callum Styles playing at left back, when you've spoken about watching him more as a midfielder, and we heard from Andy Giddings at Radio Sheffield, who sees him as a number 10 in the midfielder, and suddenly Michael Beal sees him as a left back. Clearly, in Michael Beal's mind, left back is his major issue at the moment, aside from the striker. In that case, I'm thinking back to the game against Stoke City last week, and if you remember rightly, Stoke could have scored 2 or 3 before Sunderland scored first, because they exploited the right-hand side.
Yeah, just exploited the right-hand side, but also the question is, do you think, well, okay, we've brought a left-back in, was that our major, shall we say, position where we needed to bring a player in? And why I say that is that what's going to happen to the likes of Sirkin when he comes back? Let's see when he comes back as well. He's a left-sided
Well, in fairness,
player
Sirkin's pretty much out for the season, isn't he?
Well, but let's see, where's he going to fit in?
Yeah.
And you're thinking, well, yes, Trey Hume played at left-back. He can do a job there. You know, is Hjelde, okay, he'll mostly give us a lot better balance on that side, but for me, he's an unknown. Again, to throw him
he's a big lad. I mean, I saw him when they arrived and he came out.
He's a big lad.
You can see why he can play centre-back as well.
I remember I played against Mickey Droy. He was a big lad. He was 6'5", but that doesn't mean that, you know, he's going to be a good player. You know, it's a big ask for him. You know, so fingers crossed that he does well. But okay, he gives us that balance on that left-hand side. He'll slot in on that left-hand side, but it's the other side which we need to be talking about going forward. You know, again, you know, we still haven't solved that striker's position yet.
No, but I've been impressed with Bar the last few weeks.
Yes, I've been impressed with Bar. He's coming on, he's developing, but again, the big word which we keep using week in, week out is consistency. You just don't know what you're going to get. Now, if you could say, hands on heart, that Bar's going to perform today, could you say that?
No,
exactly.
but
But that's what I'm saying. So
I think that's probably a truism of most of the players in the team.
But that's what we're talking about. You know, teams what are doing well, who are playing up at the top, challenging. You're talking about consistency. They're the ones who are going there and players are performing week in, week out. You know what you're going to get. Sunderland, I think every single week we don't know. We don't know which Sunderland's going to turn up. We don't know which Jack Clark's going to turn up. We don't know which Barr's going to turn up. We don't know. Again, okay, you talk about Burstow.
He's right, Gary Bennett. I'm surprised he's not like a manager for Sunderland.
Last week he did well. He played further forward. Now, if we knew that, okay, get the ball to the likes of Dan Neil, we know what he's going to do. He can open up doors. Get the ball out to Clark, but not get the ball out to Bow. He'll get to the byline. He'll put balls into the box. Striker knows the ball's coming to come into the box. They can make the runs. They can get on the end of things. They don't know what's happening. We don't know what's happening. You know, we'll be sat here at lunchtime thinking, well, how are we going to go about it? And then we're hoping for the likes of Jack Clark, when you're thinking, well, yes, get Jack Clark, get him on the ball, he'll make things happen. But if that's cancelled out, have we got another option?
Indeed, just a reminder, Hjelder's the one change for Sunderland today. He comes in for Sealt, who's on the bench. 3 changes for Middlesbrough. Luke Ayling comes in at right back. Finn Aziz, who you may remember was on loan at Plymouth Argyle the first half of the season, scored 7 goals there. He's on loan from Aston Villa. He'll play the number 10. And Sam Greenwood, the former Sunderland youngster, or now he's 22, he's on loan from Leeds. He's playing up front for Middlesbrough this afternoon. BBC Radio Newcastle, full commentary at 12 o'clock. Byword for consistency is Rob Mason, Sunderland club historian. Good morning.
Good morning.
And when I say consistency, I'm going to give you a little test now. I think Benno knows the answer to this because I mentioned it on Friday night on Total Sport. You may have been listening.
I didn't hear
the last Sunderland win at Middlesbrough. Can you remember when that was?
We've got a shocking record at Middlesbrough, Nick. The last Sunderland win was 2011-12 in the FA Cup.
Indeed.
The last league win was 2005-6. Since Brian Clough scored, obviously an ex-Middlesbrough player and Middlesbrough-born player, since Brian Clough scored a winner there at Middlesbrough in 1961-62, we've only won 3 out of 33
All right, Ryan, how are you doing,
and
fella?
lost 21 of them. So it's a shocking record, and we've
a shocking record, isn't it? I was thinking about this, and it's funny how teams, there are some grounds they go to that have this incredible record. They win every time, or they don't lose many. And the flip side of that is the record like Sunderland's at Middlesbrough, and there's no real explanation for it. There's no feasible explanation for it.
Over the entire history of the club, Sunderland's record is far superior to Middlesbrough's. But over the last 60 or so years, in terms of trips to Ayresome Park and subsequently since 1995, the Riverside, our record has been really bad. And as I say, it was 61-62. We had that win with Brian Clough scoring the winner, and since then just the 3 wins in 33 visits. But it was just the season after Clough's win, the 62-63 season, which was the last time we scored more than 2 goals there. And even then we didn't win. It was a 3-3 draw. So you've got to go back to 62-63 for the last time Sunderland managed to score more than 2 goals on Teesside. And but as you know, Nick, I'm a big believer in the law of averages, and the reason I'm quoting these is that I feel in my bones that Sunderland are long overdue a good result in Middlesbrough. I'll keep my fingers crossed this afternoon's the time, particularly if, unlike in the first game, we can keep 11 players on the pitch. Because another interesting stat when you look at Sunderland Middlesbrough games, and I looked this one up after Dan Neil was sent off when the score was 0-0 at the Stadium of Light earlier in the season. Sunderland have had more players sent off in history against Middlesbrough than they have against Newcastle, and I think we all know that the Sunderland-Newcastle matches have a higher intensity than any game, including Sunderland v Middlesbrough. But there's been 3 more players sent off in Sunderland-Middlesbrough, 3 more Sunderland players this is, sent off in Sunderland Middlesborough derbies than there has in Sunderland Newcastle derbies. So we need to keep 11 men on the pitch for starters.
Indeed. I mean, well, in fairness, that Dan Neil sending off was ludicrous, wasn't it? I mean,
it was indeed.
Incredible. I mean, I still staggered at that one now, you know, and it changed the game. But
we all have seen many games, including Premier League games, on Match of the Day with the same referee. Seeing players show dissent, and there's been no cards in sight, certainly not red cards, but you know, that's just the way it went.
Well, the referee this afternoon is Darren England, and the last time he took charge of a Sunderland game, I mean, remarkably, it was 4 years ago. It was in August 2019 at Burnley in the second round of the League Cup when Sunderland won there 3-1. But we've not seen Darren England since then. I mean, he's a Premier League referee, isn't he? So it'll be interesting to see what he's like this afternoon, because we've had this debate about Premier League referees in the Championship.
I mean, I've seen some very poor performances by Premier League referees who've come down to the Championship, but in fairness, the last 2 or 3 times we've had Premier League referees come down, they've actually been very good, and hopefully Darren England will be somebody who at the end of the game people are saying Darren who, because they won't have noticed him, which is always, as we all know, the sign of the good referee.
I'll reply to the chat, of course.
That record again, I mean, those 3 wins in 33, I mean, you mentioned it's not just here at the Riverside, it's Ayresome Park, and funnily enough, we were walking around from the car park at the back of the Riverside here beside the dock, and just talking about Ayresome Park. I never visited Ayresome Park. I've never done a game there, never did a game there. But Benno, you played there. I played there. So, yeah. I mean, what was it about? I mean, nothing particularly different. Was it about Ayresome Park compared to anywhere else?
It was cold.
Cold. Was that the reason? Is that the reason the record here is so poor? Because it's cold.
It's just one of them grounds. It's, you know, it's, shall we say, any time we went there, you just, I don't know what it was. It was just something which we just couldn't perform, couldn't get a result.
Yeah, many poor and disappointing games at Ayresome Park. And one of the things about Ayresome Park, Nick, was in the days before grounds were all seaters, Ayresome Park was unusual in that behind the goal at the end where the visiting supporters went, it was seated behind the goal, and those seats were usually, if not always, Middlesbrough supporters. But then there were 2 big open corners, and the Sunderland supporters tended to get the 2 big open corners. And I remember sometimes the seats, I remember being in the seats sometime in that end, but it was a bit funny in that the sort of away support was split into the 2 corners usually. And as I say, many a game there, you know, we'd typically lose 2-1 or 2-0, or maybe if we're lucky get a 1-1 draw. But rare would be the occasion where we'd actually put up you know, we'd get a victory. I never saw us win it at Ayresome Park. I mean, I was there many games, but I was only about 3 in 1961-62 when that Brian Clough win, and that was our last victory at Ayresome Park.
Before you go, a couple of things to mention. One was the disappointment on Friday night, the FA Youth Cup, Sunderland losing to Swindon. I mean, they went 1 down after about 20 seconds, didn't they?
Yeah,
2 down.
2 down after however minutes, yeah. But
the first goal that Swindon scored was only about 1 second out of being the quickest goal ever scored at the Stadium of Light, which was a first-team game when Daryl Murphy scored against Plymouth around about 2005 in a game that we went on to lose. But yeah, Swindon were 2-0 up within about 10 minutes. And although Sunderland came back and to a large extent dominated the game, had chances to get back, ultimately they went out. All credit to Swindon, they'd knocked out Manchester United in the previous round. I think they're away to either Bristol City or Burnley, it might be, in the next round, and good luck to them. But it was Sunderland's furthest amount of progress in the FA Youth Cup since 2017. There's some good young players. I saw them. I watched the game against Swindon on TV, on YouTube. Last weekend, before the first team game, I was over at the under-18s, watching the under-18s play against Newcastle, which was a 2-2 draw. Very good game that I think Sunderland deserved to win. Both goalkeepers had an outstanding game. But some good young players coming through at Sunderland. Obviously, Chris Rigg is the one that gets all of the attention on TV, on YouTube. It was a quiet game. Last weekend, before the first team game, I was over at the under-18s young winger. As you remember, Nick, he had a brief taste of the first team last season as a Silver home to Huddersfield. But he's another one coming through the pipeline for people to look out for. A talented, good, local player. And we're talking about talented players coming through the youth and development side. I'm interested to see Caden Kelly is on the bench this afternoon.
Yeah.
And he scored recently against Nottingham Forest reserves away. So hopefully, you know, he'll get a chance sooner or later. Another good, talented attacking midfield player.
I'm asking you about the under-18s because I know you watch them a fair bit, and I just thought the way that they've been playing of late, and of course they beat Manchester City earlier in the season, that it's a good young team, as you say, with a lot of prospects. I thought this was a real opportunity this year in the FA Youth Cup to do really well, go a long way. So I was a bit surprised. I was surprised at that defeat, but then again, you know, we don't know just how strong. I mean, we just assume because Swindon play in League Two that they and that doesn't reflect, does it, in the academies and the way that these players are brought on.
All credit to Swindon. In the first half, particularly, Swindon played very well, and as I say, you know, everybody should have been aware of the danger Swindon posed by the fact they knocked out Manchester United, the most successful team in the history of the FA Youth Cup, 11 times winners. They'd knocked out Man United in the previous round.
I'm not nervous, I'm not excited.
Good luck to them. Someone had
it is what it is, isn't it?
Didn't take enough of the one they did take from Morgan Sui, the young Belgian international centre forward. He took it exceptionally well. Good team that Sunderland have got coming through. As you say, they didn't just beat Manchester City away, they thoroughly deserved to beat Manchester City away in a game where Tommy Watson was absolutely blistering. Had they won on Friday night, it would have been the furthest they'd been in the Youth Cup since about 2007, when they got the semi-finals, when they had a team that was led by Jordan Henderson, led in terms of he was the player that went on to have the most successful career, but other players like Jack Colback and Martin Waghorn, who went on to have and still are having very, very good careers in professional football.
I think a lot of it's because of the
that was an exceptional team, and this current Sunderland team's got a number of good young players in Jordan Moore and Finn Lynch and Carlton Fairweather. They've got some very good coaches bringing them through, and the pipeline of young players coming through at Sunderland continues to be outstanding, and that's all credit to the people at the academy.
And finally, I mentioned a couple of things. Your thoughts on the 3 players that have come in? We're not going to see Callum Stiles for a few weeks yet. Mundell's on the bench today, and Hjelde starts.
We'll see. I mean, I was listening just before I came on. I was listening to you and Gary talking about Hjelde coming in at left back. He's a bit of a mystery. I'm slightly surprised he's come in so soon. I thought they would stick with the 11 they had last week and leave Trey Hume at left back. But we'll see what he's got to offer. You know, let's hope that he's another young player who comes in with a point to prove, a hungry young player with a bit of talent. But he's certainly in at the deep end, being thrown into a game live on TV away to local rivals in Middlesborough. So we'll see Mundell. You know, we've all read a bit about the pluses and minuses of his game as a young player. He's got the potential to be an exciting talent. Callum Stiles, obviously, we know a little bit more about, and once he's fit, he'll be a solid addition to the squad, I've no doubt.
Rob, pleasure, thank you as always. We'll chat with Rob at the Stadium of Light next Saturday. Plymouth Argyle at home. One change to Sunderland this afternoon. Leo Hjelde comes in at left back. Jensen Seelt is on the bench. Trey Hume will play right back. Well, we talked about transfers there. Let's hear from Sunderland's sporting director, Christian Speakman.
I'm watching the Firstly, can I just ask about a striker number 9? Lots to talk about. Keeper Moore didn't happen, obviously. How close were you, or were you in for other strikers as well?
Yeah, look, the 9 position is very similar to all the rest of them, which is you have 3 or 4 targets that obviously you have to try to prioritise, and I think 4 positions is always an area you want to try to strengthen and improve if you can. We went right down to the wire on 3 or 4 of them, and then at the end of it, we know it wasn't to be for various reasons, availability, and then ultimately choice. I think sometimes finance can get drawn into it. Ultimately, you've always got a choice if you want to go and spend more and more, but there also comes a point where you have to evaluate that against the value, and obviously, on this occasion that didn't come through for us.
Mate.
It's not something that was sitting around in huge frustration, if I'm quite frank with you. We're really happy we improved the forward line. With Romain joining us, and ultimately, we've got 3 players in the building that we believe in, and obviously, we want to make sure they can have the opportunity. And they also need to
welcome, mate. Welcome.
Are you comfortable because you feel that with the attacking players you've got in the squad now, and the way that Michael Beale's been talking it, you can create more chances for those strikers that are still in the building to start scoring goals?
Yeah, well, I think for the vast majority of the season, creating chances has not been an issue for us.
Our new friend,
I think for a vast period of time we've been right up there on the XG and all the various stats we want to look at. It's been around converting those opportunities. I think there's a lot of talk around Nines. I think if you look into the stats and the detail,
he's been itching at me. He phoned us. I contacted him again.
Almost every team
while I was at work
in this league and in other leagues.
Cannot wait for Friday.
So we're really aware of that, what it looks like.
Said,
ultimately, we need a team that's functioning. We need different goal scorers from different parts of the pitch.
And I was thinking, as he bottled to come on, is it rubbish he's seeing and all that carry on? But
build on.
He's had a medical emergency, but still, he's all right.
And what was your thinking in letting Mayenda go out on loan?
Well, I think there's two things. One is around providing opportunity for the players, and there's two types of opportunity. There's the opportunity out there within other environments that are comparable. We think that for him and Neck to go into Hibs, for example, I think is similar culture, similar leagues, not too far up the road. I think there's some real positives around how aligned those two environments are.
Put it on my wall.
Ultimately, the players in the building, you want to feel like you've got an opportunity to get in the team, and I think by having an inflated and a larger squad, players can feel a little bit further away from getting into the group, and I don't think that helps any of the players. So we made a choice based on the attributes that we had to keep Semedo in, and Semedo had loads of opportunities to go out, and I think it's a real good marker for us around how much interest there was in those players outside of the building, that I think really should point towards how talented they are, and we've got to try to bring those boys through. And Eliza's got a great opportunity to go to Hibs, and we wish him the best with that.
And Nectar going, is it a bit of a gamble because Dan Ballard's on 9 yellow cards, Luke's on 8.
So was it just a bit of Gristle or something like that?
Depth of cover in the centre half position. Are you happy for them to go?
Yeah, look, I think that was a conversation I think we had on every day for about 20 days because we're all aware of those factors, and that was obviously bringing Leo in was a part of that decision, bringing Callum in was a part of that decision. And there's always an area of risk with any of those decisions, and ultimately we then have to be accountable to make that judgment call. We certainly feel that we've got enough depth, enough strength in the group. Ultimately, we need to make sure that obviously, ideally we don't get two of those out at the same time, but that could happen. The squad in those moments has to step up. You could get 2 injuries, things can happen. Players have got to step up and take the opportunity. So players will get an opportunity because I think it's probably realistic to say that over a course of time before those cards get rescinded, somebody's probably going to miss a game. And look, that's what our squad's all about, and we've got to be looking at that as a positive.
As regards Romain and Callum, how far away are both of them from featuring in the team now? Because I think the Callum deal was on, then it was off, and it was back on again, and Romain's not actually played a lot of football.
No, Romain's not played a lot of football in terms of starting appearances, but he obviously has been fully fit, training, came in, did his fitness testing, so we know exactly where he's at. He'll be technically available for selection at the weekend. That'll be up to the coach to obviously pick the team. With regards to Callum, look, Callum's situation is slightly unique. We had an agreement all in principle on Callum, and then unfortunately he had to go for what would probably class as emergency surgery, but it's obviously fairly minor nowadays, and the medical team and the doctors do a credible job of that type of thing. So he's just got to get himself back on his feet, and imminently should be sort of over the next 10 to 14 days back out on the grass and available for selection. And that was part of our decision making. Do we stick with that? Do you choose something else? But we felt that was the right decision for us, and we were prepared to forego probably the next game, maybe 2 games, to make sure that he was going to be part of the rest of the games.
And finally, for me, the Pritchard situation resolved itself with him going to Birmingham. When you look back in hindsight, though, it's probably a situation that he could have probably avoided. Do you think? And it sort of.
Look, I think I've said in these conversations before, these guys are not robots. There's loads of things that affect them. They're just like you and I. We've got home life, friends, family, thoughts, ambitions, etc. etc. So I think in the end, look, Alex has made probably an incorrect decision, which he probably, in reflection, maybe thinks he probably shouldn't have done. And look, we all make mistakes in life. Do you know what I mean? I think the first and foremost of Alex is, we brought Alex in because we knew he could be a real complement to what we were trying to achieve, and I think that was a justified decision. He's become a fan's favourite on the pitch, delivered on numerous occasions for our football club to get us promoted.
Hello, David.
So from that side of it, we were delighted. In the end, it was just a sensible conversations around what's the next best move. And I think he's happy with the outcome. I wouldn't necessarily say we're happy with the outcome because we were sort of in a position where we had to make a decision. We had to put the best interest of the club first, and I think, like I said, we move forward. We've got a really, really strong squad. We've got other players in his position that have played in front of him this year, and he's played in front of them at times. So, that's as it is.
Total Sport North East.
BBC Radio Newcastle.
Christian Speakman talking about the transfer window. We'll hear from Michael Beal and Mason Burstow before kick-off at 3 o'clock. Just to recap the teams, one change for Sunderland. Leo Hjelde starts at left-back this afternoon, Patterson in goal, Hume, Ballard, O'Nien and Hjelde, Neil, Ekwa, Barr, Joe, Clark and Burstow. The bench is Bishop, Pembele, Hemir, Roberts, Mundell, Rusin, Sealt, Aushish and Caden Kelly is on the bench as well. Middlesbrough make 3 changes. Ayling, Aziz and Greenwood all come in this afternoon. Luke Ayling on loan from Leeds, of course, as is Greenwood. Aziz is on loan from Aston Villa. Right, a lot's been happening yesterday. There's a lot more to happen today. Sunderland women play at 12 o'clock as well. They're playing at Reading, and rounding everything up, everything, is Dominic James.
Thanks to Nick and Gary. We're back to the Riverside shortly to continue build-up to Middlesbrough versus Sunderland. As Bondy says, lots going on this weekend. Just a quick reminder of the championship results yesterday. Queen's Park Rangers winning away at Blackburn 2-1. Huddersfield 4-0 winners over Sheffield Wednesday. Hull 1-0 winners over Millwall. Norwich beating Coventry 2-1. Preston 3-2 winners over Ipswich. Rotherham losing at home, Southampton winning 2-0 there. Leicester going away to Stoke and winning 5-0. Plymouth winning on the road as well, 1-0 winners over Swansea. Cardiff winning on the road 1-0 winners over Watford. And West Brom beat Tony Mowbray's at Birmingham City 1-0. Sunderland 9th in the table then after the results yesterday, but a win today would take them back up to 6th and into those playoff places in the Premier League. We had our other commentary game yesterday here on BBC Radio. Newcastle's 4-4 draw with Luton Town at St James's Park. United coming back after being 4-2 down at one point. Here's the Magpies head coach Eddie Howe.
We're disappointed, we're frustrated. We feel, especially the way we started the game, that we could go on and win the game, really stamp our authority in the match, and we didn't do that, and Luton kept coming back at us and showed why they're in a very good run of form themselves. I thought it was a very good game. It was very open, both teams trying to sort of take the initiative to each other. Yeah, ultimately we're disappointed not to win, but also probably grateful not to lose, as being 4-2 down as well. We needed some inspiration that came from various players. I think they all stood up.
Hello,
certainly,
Monday, 3 o'clock
not an easy moment for us, and I think when you look back throughout the season,
and early
come back
today
enough from losing position, so that's a big step forward.
Eddie Howe there speaking to Matthew Raisbeck after Newcastle's 4-4 draw with Luton yesterday. The full interview is available on BBC Sounds too. Also yesterday in the Premier League, Everton drawn 2-2 with Tottenham. Brighton beating Crystal Palace 4-1. Burnley and Fulham drawing 2-2. Aston Villa going away to Sheffield United and winning 5-0. Meanwhile today at 2 o'clock it's Bournemouth versus Nottingham Forest. Chelsea are against Wolves. Man U up against West Ham at Old Trafford. 4:30 today Arsenal versus Liverpool at the Emirates. As Nick mentioned before in the Women's Championship today, Sunderland are away to Reading at a 12 o'clock kick-off there. Durham, meanwhile, at Maiden Castle are at home to Sheffield United. In the National League today, Newcastle's women take on Wolves at Kingston Park at 2 o'clock kick-off there. Non-league wise, yesterday Gateshead beat Southend 1-0 away from home. Here's the Gateshead manager Rob Elliott. He spoke to us on our local football roundup last night.
Fantastic win. That's tremendous, to be honest with you, so makes the long journey worth it. I said to the lads, I was like, if you can put all this effort in, sacrifice all the time and the journey and everything. Left at 8, got to the hotel at 6 yesterday because we trained on the way down. Like, let's make it worth it, and I thought we was excellent from start till about the 75th minute when we have to accept that Southend were putting balls in the box and we defended brilliantly well. Rode our luck with a ball hitting the bar, but overall I thought we were really good for the win. To keep a clean sheet at Southend, I don't think many people will do that.
Gateshead manager Rob Elliott there. Meanwhile, in the National League North,
that felt like a defeat to Luton, even though they got a
away to Hereford. South Shields drawing 1-1 away to Scarborough Athletic. A good point on the road for them. Meanwhile, in the Northern Premier League Premier Division, Morpeth losing 4-3 away to Atherton. In the East Division, a couple of local derbies for us yesterday. Hebburn beaten Concert 3-1 and Dunstan running out 4-1 winners over Ashington Rugby Union. There was no Falcons this weekend as the Six Nations weekend began, of course, on Friday. Ireland beat France 38 points to 17, and yesterday England were in Rome to take on Italy. A close game there, but England winning 27-24. And afterwards, the England head coach Steve Borthwick spoke to our reporter Sarah Orchard.
It's pleasing to start with the first game with a win, obviously. I think we're building through this tournament. I think we'll get better as a team. As you start looking now, there's almost a contrast today. You've got playing against an Italian side that was dominated by Treviso players who play together week in, week out, sitting second in URC, and you see an England team with 5 debutants. So we knew it was going to be a challenge. It really was. Pleased we came through the challenge. Plenty to work upon, but pleased we came through the challenge.
Are you frustrated with the decision making at the end? You could have got away with a 13-point win. It's a 3-point win.
And we'll back the players to make decisions, and you know, certainly the decisions, the execution would be. So we'll work on that, and we'll make sure it's better. There's certain experiences you go through, and you make sure you learn from. We will make sure we debrief this game thoroughly, and say, well, there's plenty of lessons in it for us.
England head coach Steve Borthwick there speaking after England's 27-24 win over Italy in Rome yesterday. In Cardiff, Wales, a narrow defeat for them, losing 27-26 to Scotland. Very close match. To cricket then, and in the day 3 of the second test between India and England, India were bowled out for 255 runs in their second innings and have set England 399 runs to win. England have made a good start though.
I've just simulated a match on FIFA 22.
67 for 1 off just 14 overs. Ben Duckett, the one losing his wicket, Rain Ahmed, was put in as a night watchman. So England going good in their second innings. We'll see how that pans out tomorrow on day 4. Basketball in the BBL Championship, the Newcastle Eagles will be looking to bounce back after their defeat on Friday, losing 105-87 to the London Lions. They take on the Cheshire Phoenix this evening. It's a 6 p.m. tip-off later in the WBL Championship.
It's predicting that
last night, the Newcastle Eagles lost 83-68.
So according to that,
Rebels,
it's got Sunderland winning by 3 goals.
Kings at the Masters. Chris
so let's see how right that is.
Lost to Michael Van Gerwen in the round of 16 last night. He lost 10 legs to 4 in the cyclocross World Championships in the Czech Republic this weekend. Yesterday in the women's elite race, gated Anna Kay was in action, the only Brit in the women's race actually. She finished 17th.
He's got his rubber ducky.
Today in the men's elite race at 1:30. We have Thomas Main of Gateshead, also the only Brit in the race too. Starts at 1:30. You can watch those races back on the BBC iPlayer too. To snooker then, and at the German Masters last night, Newcastle's Sam Craigie lost his
I think if both teams
to
keep 11 men on the pitch, I think I do fancy it'll
time for us then on BBC Radio Newcastle to head back to the riverside to continue build up to Middlesbrough versus Sunderland in the company of Nick Barnes and Gary Bennett.
Not much to choose between them.
Matt Bailey at breakfast.
Facebook has turned 20 years old today. So I want to know, what's the most annoying thing that people do on Facebook? And you've got one, haven't you?
Yes, I do. When you see a post and it's of some poor little dog that's gone missing on the other side of the world, and you see that Karen from Farringdon says shared Farringdon. Call off the search. Karen's got it covered. That dog in a little town in Australia, it's sorted. Somebody in Farringdon is bound to have seen it.
Matt Bailey at breakfast.
Back Monday morning
from 6.
BBC Radio Newcastle.
Total Sport North East.
Nick Barnes and Gary Bennett MBE.
BBC Radio Newcastle.
We'll hear from Michael Beal in a moment, but the walkers, we were talking about them earlier on. Chris Beanie has organised this walk from the Stadium of Light. They left at 7 last night to the riverside here today for the game at 12, all in aid of Chris Woods, who's in a wheelchair. He's sitting in his wheelchair right down in front of us at the end of the tunnel now, because those walkers have made it. They've raised over £20,000. Chris Beanie's just been interviewed by a familiar name that might be, many Sunderland fans might remember. John Foster used to do the PA at the Stadium of Light, does the PA here now at the riverside. But John has just been interviewing the organiser, Chris Beanie. He's a Sunderland fan, Chris Woods is a Middlesbrough fan. And just to recap, Chris Woods is in a wheelchair, had a stroke. He needs physio. He's not been able to get it on a daily basis. The money's been raised for him to be able to have 5 days a week treatment in a bid to. I was chatting to him last night. His whole right side is basically paralysed, but he's getting some movement back in his right arm and hand now, and the hope is that they might be able to get movement back in that right side, and in the long run hopefully getting back on his feet again, but that might be a long way off.
Indeed, and it's great, isn't it, how football brings supporters together. You know, we're talking about the game today, what it means about the game today, but also what it means to the supporters, you know, bringing 2 sets of supporters, and you know, the colours go out of the window. you know, and again, you know, we're talking about the support, which we're trying to obviously raise as much funds as we can.
On another note, a very sad note as well, here's someone who will have been known by many, loved by all, and that's John Snaith from the Colliery Tavern, sadly, not so suddenly, sadly passed away at the end of the week. Our condolences and our love go to Teresa, his wife, and all the family. They will be known by many people. Just very, very sad, and I'm sure that John's funeral will be well attended. I think that goes without saying. It's going to be a very busy day, and our condolences, as I say, to Teresa and the family. So our thoughts are with you, Teresa. Not an easy time, but there you go. Here today, 12 o'clock kickoff, one change, Shelder comes in. Let's hear firstly. Now, we'll hear from him again before kickoff. We'll also hear from Mason Burstow. But let's hear the first few minutes of Michael Beal.
Michael, first, your take on the transfer window. I suspect you've not had a huge amount of involvement in it this week, but you've got 3 players in, a few have left. What's your mood? What's your making of it all?
3 really good players that come in that were targets for the club. I know the the 3 players well. So
Jack Diamond, he was a loanee at Carlisle. He played 20
Leo
minutes.
He's had the most time with the group. I think he's a player that I saw break through in Scotland originally, and obviously
our players have got glass legs, like, haven't we?
Well, he's had a nice loan at Motherwell. He's highly thought of in his international setup as well, and he gives us real good balance.
Legs are made of plywood.
Left-footed defenders, centre backs who can play full-back are hard to find. So we think we've signed a really good player there at the right moment. Romain obviously had a really excellent academy journey with Spurs before going over to Standard Liège, and he's a player that's been on the club's radar for a while. He comes in, gives us good versatility in wide areas, and Callum Styles I think is an excellent football player that will really benefit the club. Obviously played a number of times for his national team, Hungary, will go to the Euros as a midfielder, but can also play as a wing-back and full-back. So in terms of the ins, really positive. And the boys that have gone out, I feel that it was part of their plan ultimately to go out and play more in the second half of the season, and certainly in Nectar and Ellie's situation, I feel that they're players that we've really got high hopes for the future. In terms of Jay, he's just missed a lot of football and could do with playing. So all in all, it was busy, and positive. We now move forward.
Christian was quite relaxed about not getting a 9 and a striker in. And bearing in mind, your thoughts over the last few weeks about the 3 that you've got here now, and how relaxed are you about that?
Well, relaxed is a big word for managers when you're chasing and the expectation of getting in the playoffs and then pushing on from there. So, look, Mason played ever so well last week and scored a goal. Naz has done well. I think Naz also can play off the left. If you asked him maybe what his main position is, he'd probably say as a left forward coming inside. Scored a couple of goals there for the second team earlier in the week as well. So look, we'll keep working. Semedo is a player that I think we should have high hopes for in the future. He's obviously adjusting to the country, and he's had a couple of fitness issues recently in terms of carrying 1 or 2 knocks that we've had to be careful with, hence why he didn't play in the B team game against Leeds. But he's a player we've got high hopes for, and it's a collective thing. The team score goals, and at the weekend we had 3 different goal scorers, so that's a good sign for us all.
Because there's no number 9 coming in, and these 3 now know that that's the case, it's up to them to stake their claim. That could actually be a positive for them, couldn't it? Now that they know they're the ones that the burden rests on their shoulders. Yes, that's a pressure, but it's also a good pressure.
Yeah, and listen, for them, of course, that it's great for them on a personal level. Now they've got to own it, and the team has. But Paddy's back in training will help us in that area as well. Abdullah Bar, we've brought Romain in, so I'm comfortable with our options. It's the team. The team need to step up. I think sometimes being a striker for Sunderland's been difficult. Do we cross the ball enough? At times do we try to score the perfect goal with a lot of intricate play, and so it's important we feed the number 9, regardless of who's in there and who's got the shirt. It's important they get good service and get people playing close to them, and I thought last week was a step in the right direction for sure.
I mean, there's a sense of I think in the game against Stoke that maybe a few more shots from outside the box, a bit more of the old-fashioned wing play, trying to get the ball in to those places. That's something you've worked on, or you've had the opportunity to work on now, because you've not got the midweek games.
Yeah, for sure. We wanted to be a little bit quicker in the final third, play a little bit higher up the pitch with our forwards as well as, and press higher up the pitch. And I thought it was a pleasing aspect of last week's game for sure.
Total Sport North East.
On the station with Newcastle and Sunderland commentary exclusively live.
BBC Radio Newcastle.
We'll hear more from Michael Beal before kick-off. What time's that now? Just past 11:45. We'll hear from Mason Burstow in a moment as well. One thing to alert you to, remind you of, in case you've missed it, we do a Sunderland podcast every week. This week's edition was Martin Emerson's remake of a documentary he put together 20 years ago of the 73 Cup winning team, but Bob Stokoe. And because Bob Stokoe, 20th anniversary of his death, I think this week, Martin's re-edited and remade the documentary. He's remixed it, as they say. If you were a DJ, he'd remixed it.
Has he got some fresh stuff
He's got
on
a couple of... I know he hasn't.
No.
Hey. That's why it's a remix.
Yeah,
it's a remix rather than an original record, new record.
Oh.
It's Martin's remix rather than Martin's new record.
Okay.
Anyway, that's the Sunderland podcast this week. It's very good listen, and that you can find on the BBC Sounds rail, BBC Sounds, if you've got that app, or wherever you get your... And this is what you meant to say, didn't it? Wherever you get your podcast from. This is an age, this is a world beyond me, but apparently, wherever you get your podcast from, wherever that might be, off the I don't know, off the milkman. I'm not sure where do you get them from. Anyway, have a trawl for that. It's a very good listen. Week before we spoke to Graham Anderson, formerly of the Sunderland Echo. That's a good listen as well. Next week, I'll be chatting with Simon Pride to Frankie Francis. So that'll be late in the week. The Sunderland AFC podcast. We'll have to get you on one.
Yes, it'll be interesting. What would we talk about? Our journeys?
Yeah, that would be a good one.
That would be a good one.
Yeah,
we could cover a lot, couldn't we?
We could, yes. There's a lot to cover there. The afternoon we broke down on the way to Southampton.
Indeed.
I'm hoping we're not tempting fate again, because we're going down there again in a few weeks.
I think supporters don't realise what we go through.
No, they don't. They don't. No, they don't. Well, that's a good point.
We don't complain, we get there.
I'm going to pencil you in. That's it. Benno's on the podcast in a few weeks' time, so you can look forward to that. Last weekend, Mason Burstow scored his first goal for Sunderland. He starts again this afternoon. I caught up with him after the 3-1 win.
Mason, that must be a big weight off your shoulders.
How are you doing? I'm okay, Gordon. I'm not too bad.
Yeah, massively.
Eric Powell, hello.
Bit work in the training ground.
A billionaire owner who takes rather than gives no players of value brought in.
How frustrating is the last
typical
4 or 5
yo-yo
months
teams?
It's been frustrating not being on the score sheet, but I just got to keep working day in, day out, and eventually it will come. And today it has.
Hello, I heard my name mentioned. Hello.
So much looking forward to it, and the promise that it held for you here, and then to find yourself sort of pulled out of the team and wondering perhaps when you're going to get back in the team. The confidence you exuded after scoring that goal, you could almost see that weight lifting off your shoulders.
Yeah. It's
Alan, how are you doing?
It's been frustrating coming out of the team. Obviously, I want to play every week, but there's other nines that need to play as well, and we're all working very hard to get in the team and to score. So it's been healthy competition, and today's been my chance. So.
Michael Beale's just been saying how much you work on the training pitch, how you stay behind afters and work on your finishing. Has there been a real determination to try and crack it and get back in?
Yeah, definitely. Not many of the finishing draws are headers from 3 yards out, but it's been a weight off my shoulders, definitely.
I mean, you'll take them anyway they come, won't you?
Just
to get the first one.
Yeah, exactly, massively. So hopefully they just keep coming now.
What's the mood been like over the last couple of weeks? I mean, it's a young team, you're a young player, you're away from home, away from Chelsea. I mean, there must be times you're thinking, maybe I'm better off going home. Has it been difficult to try and keep yourself going?
No, so since I come, I've been focused on Sunderland, getting into the playoffs, and that's been my main focus. Chelsea keep encouraging me to keep going. I've been encouraging myself, and so is family and friends, etc. So it's just about getting points here and kicking on.
And presumably, I mean, Chelsea, you mentioned, do they keep a close eye on you? Are you in regular contact with them about how it's going?
Yeah, I'm in contact. They encourage me the best they can. They send me clips and stuff of my games. So it's regular contact, but it's just about kicking on here, helping the boys out here and stepping up to the challenge. So.
It must have seemed, in a lot of ways,
welcome on the channel, mate.
you've been at a bit of a basket case of a club because of everything that's gone on. I mean, how have you sort of factored that in and dealt with that, or everything that's happened since Tony Mowbray left?
Yeah, there's been a lot of change, obviously a different gaffer, change in tactics and mood around the camp, but we just focus day in day out on the training ground and in games best we can. We've
8 minutes away from kick-off, guys.
And he focuses a lot on us, and there's a lot of communication going on, so we just need to keep working every game.
And you must feel like today, the win, your goal, maybe it feels a little bit like a fresh start for the final games of the season?
Yeah, I think it's 17 games left now, and we're going to work hard to get into those playoff spots and kick on and try to get promoted, so everyone needs to step up. We got a week until the next game. We'll be back on the training pitch working as hard as we can.
Have you set yourself a target?
I haven't thought about it yet. I'm just going to enjoy today, enjoy the 3 points and the goal.
Total Sport North East.
BBC Radio Newcastle.
Mason Burso, who starts this afternoon up front. You had this statistic, you were talking about it earlier. I think they've shown it on TV as well. Is it 9 different strikers since where they last had a striker playing up front, Sunderland, and 2 goals return, and I don't know, countless chances.
Well, again, that could be the talking point for the rest of the season. Is it a gamble that we've gone through the window without bringing a striker in? We've had this conversation, shall we say, for the last 18 months, really. I think the big question is, about getting that experienced striker in. Funny enough, I was just talking to Don Goodman, and Don, we just having a conversation, and he said he learnt his trade. I mentioned I played against a lad who was at Bradford City. His name was Bobby Campbell, and he was the right character. And Don said, you know what, I was 16, I played alongside him, and the amount of information I learned from playing alongside him was unbelievable. And that's what happens. You've got to understand or learn or play alongside maybe experienced players. And you look at the team, you look at our team, fantastic young players, but you still need that little bit of guidance and that experienced player on the pitch to point you in the right direction sometimes.
Well, talking about experience, Grant Leadbitter played for both, of course. He's up here on the gantry. He's a coach now at Middlesbrough. He was at the Stadium of Light. He got a bit carried away. He was sat in front of us, wasn't he? He was getting a bit carried away, actually. So it's probably a good thing he's about 100 yards away from us.
I wonder who is he supporting?
Well, he's wearing Middlesbrough colours
yes,
this afternoon. So that's possibly where it is today. Right, we're not far away from kick-off. Let's hear from, again, the Sunderland head coach, Michael Beal.
Big game of the weekend, obviously, with Middlesbrough and being just down the road. I mean, what are your thoughts on them and how you approach the game?
Yeah, it's an excellent game. It's a really, if you look at the last 6 games in the league and the form, we're 5th, they're 6th. So in the last 6 games, it's obviously 2 teams with the same amount of points and are riding high and have got the same ambition. We know what happened in the home game, so there's certainly an element of that we want to perform well. We'll need to as the away team against Middlesbrough. I think a good team. I think Michael Carrick has started his management career well. In the last month at home, they've played Aston Villa and narrowly lost, and played Chelsea and won a game. So I think that's a warning for how strong they are at home. But I've seen areas of them that we can exploit as well. We'll need to be at our best.
I mean, I think the fans and the players are still stung by that 4-0 game. Is it something you can use very much in the dressing room going into the game?
Yeah, each game's different. Obviously, new coach and some new players will be involved in this game, and we're living in a different moment.
The tables have got to turn at some point, haven't they?
It comes down to the penalty boxes, as we've seen, in other games this year where we've been quite ruthless in games and scored goals. And you might say last weekend was a little bit like that. We took our chances and maybe Stoke didn't. And maybe in that game it wasn't a fair run of how the game was actually played between the boxes, but certainly want to show a better performance this weekend in terms of the final outcome.
had a nice little onion pizza Saturday as well, and I've had a good sleep. I actually had a dream about Jackie White's market. I became the manager for few weeks. I'm all right. It
took him 8 games or 7 or 8 games to get that 9th book in, so it'd be nice if he could go that long again. But no, with him and Luke O'Nien being 2 away, I think the emergence of Jensen's been really, really positive.
I do apologise for me munching
now
on the
he's
stream
fit
on Friday.
and he's playing regularly in the second. He's pick up his minutes when he's not playing for us. Leo's come in and gives us that flexibility. Obviously, the reason that Callum's was delayed a little bit was obviously he had appendicitis and that's knocked it back. But we expect him back in a couple of weeks as well. So look, as we found with the injuries we've had, Jensen's come in, and I think the last, actually every time he's played, but certainly the last couple, I think Jensen's been excellent. So he is a centre back. So at some point in the next couple of games, we're going to see him there when that booking finally comes.
And finally, for me, you obviously relieved as well that nobody was sold in the window, and that's important going forward, isn't it?
Yeah, look, every club wants to keep their best players, but I never felt at any moment that we was going to lose anybody. The boys all seem really engaged and into what we're doing, and the big one was obviously there was some noise around Clark, but every single day Jack trains ever so well, and he's focused, and he's
Alan Frost, you're not confident, if you're honest.
Total Sport North East.
Nick Barnes and Gary Bennett, MBE.
BBC Radio Newcastle.
Teams out on the pitch, just introducing themselves to one another. Sunderland will be all in yellow this afternoon at the moment they're wearing, and they're just about to discard their red and orange tracksuit tops, piling them up in front of Stephen Aziz, the kit man. The yellow shirts with blue sleeves, yellow shorts, yellow socks, as Dan Neil peels away and goes across to the Sunderland fans on the far side in the corner. The one change, Leo Hjelde, number 33, a shock of dyed blonde hair, so he stands out. He plays left back this afternoon. Just thinking of the conversation, quick exchange of words with Dan Neil, shake of the hands, and with Dan Ballard. Dan Ballard, of course, on the 9 yellow cards. Dan has got to somehow reach or go through the next 7 games without a yellow card. It's probably a big ask, but he could do it. He could do it. And as we mentioned just before with Michael Beal, Luke O'Nien's on 8 yellow cards at the moment. There's so much sort of, we mentioned Grant Ledbetter playing both for Sunderland and Middlesbrough, works in Middlesbrough now. Jonathan Woodgate's down below, he's on the coaching staff, former Newcastle as well. There's so much interchange with these two teams, isn't there, over the years? I mean, even you worked at Middlesbrough.
Yeah, I worked at Middlesbrough as well, in the academy. The amount of players, and we just mentioned Sam Greenwood, his journey as well, started off at Sunderland. He's at Middlesbrough at the present moment, very, very good player. So yeah, it's there's a lot of links. They mentioned the likes of Steve Agnew, Tony Mowbray, you've got Julio Arca, the list is going on and on and on.
They've just shown a shot of Jack Clark on the television with a statistic that 11 of his 13 goals this season have come from away from home. It's remarkable, really, isn't it?
It is indeed.
So fingers crossed he can add to that tally this afternoon here at the Riverside. Are we in afternoon yet? Yep. We are about to get underway this afternoon. Darren England, all in black, is the referee, the 38-year-old who's a Premier League referee, last in charge of a Sunderland game in 2019 in August of that year. That was in the League Cup at Burnley, and it was an away win for Sunderland, 3-1 that particular night. So it's a cloudy, dry, chilly day, but it's a great day for football. And Darren England's about to get us underway. He does so. Middlesbrough kick-off. Immediately trying to break through the middle is Hayden Hackney. It's pushed back to Dan Barlaser, former Newcastle midfielder, signed from Rotherham, of course, and back again into the heart of defence, where a break possibly for Barr after the ball broke on the left side of the Middlesbrough midfield and eventually put out by Vandenberg for a throw for Sunderland after a pursuit by Abdullah Barr.
That was encouraging, though.
It was
positive.
Vandenberg's pushed into the middle because Luke Ayling is coming at right back for Middlesbrough, who are all in red. Here's Barr again on the right side of the penalty area. Eckwer's with him. Barr again, looking for Jobe, who's a little bit slow to react. It comes back to Ballard, now O'Nien, who hooks it high in the air down the right wing. Barr would have been offside. Burstow's making a breakdown to the touchline, but the ball has bounced out for a throw. Quickly back to goalkeeper Tom Glover. Seny Dieng still injured, so the 26-year-old Australian's in goal. He's in black and grey. He's played it to Dale Fry, and then it's back to the goalkeeper. Flanked by the centre-half.
Funny enough, I'm looking at the replay, and can you tell me the difference between the replays, what you can see now on the screen in front of you, and to the team playing?
It's back to front, isn't it? Which could be quite discombobulating. That's a foul on Barr. 25 yards out. Now you've alerted me to that. I'm trying to look at both. I'm going to get myself in all sorts of a mess here. I'm going to stick to the pitch, stick to the reality, and not watch the game on the telly in front of me.
But again, positive by Barr picking the ball up. One Sunderland a free kick. What? Maybe 28
Maybe
yards
probably
out.
nearer 30 yards actually, isn't it? But a free kick nonetheless, and a good opportunity for Sunderland. Eckwer and Clark in conversation over the ball at the moment. Neil to their left, Trey Hume left on guard duty in the centre circle. Anthony Patterson all light blue this afternoon, just standing behind the centre circle at the moment, and referee's waving his arms either side to warn the players off a bit of pushing at the edge of the penalty area. And here's Eckwer with his left foot just over the bar with that free kick. Goal kick then to Middlesbrough early doors. We're in the 3rd minute, 0-0.
It's strange, I've just been looking at the programme, and you're looking at the players on the pitch, and you've got Yelder, got number 33. He's not even on the list.
It's fresh blood, as they say. Here's Middlesbrough on the right with Fry playing it back under pressure from Burstow to Glover. Out wide on the left-hand side, looking for Engel, the Dane, who plays it back into Vandenberg, who's playing left side of the two centre-backs. Played out wide now on the right, and swept forwards by Luke Ayling on loan from Leeds. It comes all the way through to Anthony Patterson, and Patterson strolls and then rolls the ball to Luke O'Nien. Michael Beal putting a overcoat on as the ball's headed down by Dale Fry and put back by Howson to goalkeeper Tom Glover, edge of his penalty area, pushes it out to the Dutchman Vandenberg, the 19-year-old. He's 6'3", he plays it out wide, eventually through Fry to Ayling and back to Fry again, and then just into Barlaser. And Barlaser waits on as Howson looks to get it wide now to Hackney. Hayden Hackney on this right wing over the halfway line. Jobe goes behind him, it's pushed through the middle now. Aziz looking for Greenwood, and Greenwood's shot is blocked by Hume. It was a swift move out of defence by Middlesbrough.
Yeah,
they cut through, but the end product was a tame shot in the end with a block by Hume, and it's dropped back into the hands of Anthony Patterson. Greenwood, Sam Greenwood, the Sunderland lad who went to Arsenal, then to Leeds. He's on loan from Leeds now. He's playing as the Middlesbrough number 9. Well, I'm not sure they're not actually playing with Aziz alongside of him. They certainly got Aziz and Greenwood up there. Foul on Luke O'Nien by Marcus Force. So a free kick wide on the left here in the Sunderland half. Kjelder back to Dan Neil, just in front of the D, to Ballard alongside him. Ballard bringing this forwards, turns, and has to play this back to Dan Neil. Kjelder makes a run forwards inside of Clark, trying to get there now down the left wing, but flying across comes Dale Fry and drives the ball out for a throw to Sunderland on the left. We're in the 6th minute, 0-0, live on BBC Radio Newcastle. Here's Kjelder. A throw back down to Luke O'Nien from in front of Michael Beal. It's played across to Ballard again in the middle of the Sunderland half, and out wide to Trey Hume, back to Ballard. Ballard across to O'Nien again. O'Nien forwards to Job back to Ballard, and Ballard brings it up to halfway, looking for Barr just in front of the centre circle, trying to get away from Vandenberg. It's played into the penalty area from the right, put behind by Ayling.
That's a great ball
for a corner.
That's a fantastic ball. Got to get somebody to attack it.
The ball swung in from the touchline by Hume, and Clark goes down to the corner to take this on the left. Barr's gone with him. Short corner to Barr. Barr now, the left edge of the penalty area, plays it back into the middle. Ekwa trying to tee up a shot, closed down by Greenwood, and the consequence of that was a corner.
It's got to be quicker.
Ricochet deflected up off Greenwood, behind for Sunderland's second corner in the 7th minute. And Clark going across to the right-hand side to take this on top of the discombobulation of the TV pictures. They're 5 seconds behind as well.
Yeah,
it's not helping things.
Keep
your eyes on the pitch. Keep your eyes on the ball. Clark from the right-hand side. He's driven this in. Hjelde trying to get on the end of it. It couldn't get connect. Oh, he's caught the defender. Engel, who's quickly back up on his feet.
He was going to have a little bit of a roll.
He was trying to swing it. He was going to roll over it. Hjelde was going to swing his right foot through it, but he caught the defender. Here's Fry now on the right side of the penalty, bringing this out into midfield for Middlesbrough. Forwards to Hayden Hackney, out to Ayling on the right side in front of Michael Beal. Tries to swing it through the middle for Greenwood, but it's broken for Ballard. He finds Ekwa, lays it off now to Hume on the far side, and Hume's bringing this down the right wing, still going down that right-hand side, slips it inside, straight though to Vandenberg, who plays it out now to Greenwood, but he's tackled by Neal. Looking for Barr on the right wing, on the touchline, it's stayed in. Barr plays it back to Ballard, and Ballard to O'Nien, and O'Nien to Hjelde on this left-hand side, still in the Sunderland half. A longer ball forwards over the head of Job. Burstow's inside, but Howson's got it back to Fry. Fry inside to Vandenberg, and Vandenberg in his blue boots plays it over to the sort of leafy green boots of Engel, who plays it down into the path of Greenwood in the penalty area. There's a slight tug back on him. He goes down as he's puts it over the bar. Got away with one there. I think Michael Carrick's feeling that there should have been maybe a penalty.
What was Patterson doing? Did you think he should have come out for that?
He should have done, probably come out sooner.
He stopped, didn't he?
He did, and Greenwood.
No man's land.
Well, Greenwood, there was a slight tug on his shirt, and then he went over the goalkeeper. I think Michael Carrick's trying to appeal that there should have been.
Patterson should have been out. He should have been sweeping that. But again, one ball's got behind us.
And nearly got caught there as Hjelde brings this away to Job and out to Clark. And Clark, he's tackled, the ball goes out for a throw to Middlesbrough on the right, inside the Sunderland half. But a wake-up call. So 0-0 in these early stages. Sunderland have had the better of the opening nearly 10 minutes, but that was an alarm bell for them.
You've got to say Middlesbrough have had the best chance.
Yeah, that was the best chance. As the ball breaks again for Sunderland down the left-hand side. Arguably, Finn Aziz should have done better with the follow-up as well. Ball is back with Tom Glover, the former Tottenham goalkeeper, signed from Melbourne City, the Australian, where he spent the last 4 years in the summer. Burstow slips over at the edge of the penalty area. It's laid out to the left wing. Engel back to Vandenberg. Vandenberg to Fry. Clark nearly caught him, but he's passed it out, the goalkeeper, to Vandenberg. Back to Fry, out wide to Luke Ayling again on the right wing. He's taking this down to the halfway line. Job's gone with him. Ayling holds him off. It's played just behind him to Hackney, then played out off Neal for a throw to Middlesbrough, who start the day, or they would have done before yesterday's game, in 11th place, and Sunderland technically would be in 7th place, so they've dropped down as a result of yesterday's games. But here's Barlaser, wins it in the middle. trying to find Engel. Hume will beat him to it, but Engel's got in front of Hume, gets the ball back to the goalkeeper. And it's passed out to Vandenberg. Fourth officials having words still with Michael Carrick. Is still not happy, clearly, by the way that he's pointing to the penalty area with that break from Greenwood. Fry to Vandenberg. Out wide again to Engel. And back again to Vandenberg. Quickly through to Finn Aziz. And Aziz trying to get away down the left. Is tackled. It's a throw to Middlesbrough on the left-hand side. Finn Aziz, 23 years old, was on loan from Aston Villa. He spent the first half of the season at Plymouth Argyle, scored 7 goals there. And here's Howson back in his own half, leaves it for Dan Barlaser. Barlaser behind the centre circle, plays it out wide to Ayling on halfway, and Ayling down the touchline, trying to get forced through. O'Nien's got with him, gets in front of the Finnish international, who pushes O'Nien over, and it's a free kick with a bit of follow through from Force. And now he's actually checking to see that O'Nien's all right. The referee is going to have a quiet word, I think, with Marcus Force, and it'll be a free kick taken by Anthony Patterson in the left corner. Players on this near side, the kick down the left wing, up goes Dale Fry, heads onto the halfway line, and Dan Neal. Dale Fry, a Middlesbrough born centre half. And now here's Hume on halfway on the right of the centre circle. He's got Barr wide, he finds Barr on the touchline. Engel goes to close him down. Hume's carried on his run, Barr's cut inside and finds in the middle Job. Job closed down by Howson, but he turns him, Job. He's done well. He gets the ball to Clark at the corner of the penalty area on the left, going past Ayling. Clark still going. Tried to put it in between the keeper and the post, but the keeper gets a hand to it and just knocks it out for a corner.
Obviously, Clark knows Ayling, doesn't he?
Yep.
From his Leeds days.
Yep.
And I would imagine Clark fancies himself against him. We've just seen there he's gone past him.
He did then, and he fancied himself against the keeper as well, trying to squeeze it in at the post. I think he was assuming the keeper would make the assumption he was going to cross it into the 6-yard box. Clark with his corner on the left. It's Sunderland's third. Referee's having a word with the players that are lined up around the penalty spot, and Clark will have to wait a moment. Barr's 10 yards from him down the touchline. Burstow is in the 6-yard box, and it's like a rugby scrum on the penalty spot, which suddenly breaks. The ball curled in and caught by Tom Glover comfortably at the far post and rolled out here to Howson on the left-hand side. Greenwood's continued his run. Eckwa's got to be aware of this. It's down the left wing to Greenwood. Hume goes to cover, takes both the ball and Greenwood out, and a yellow card for Hume. 14th minute, Hume's shown the yellow card, his 6th of the season. Free kick which Dan Barlaser will take on the left touchline.
Yeah, and he delivers quality balls in, Barlaser. I think at times Middlesbrough are finding it too easy to slip the balls down the sides. They're making some good runs, Middlesbrough, but they're getting behind Sunderland, which is causing the problem.
Sunderland holding their line at the edge of the penalty area. And Barlaser then swings this in. It should be Patterson's ball, which it is.
Good take.
And he took that well, claimed it. 0-0 still. Live on BBC Radio Newcastle. The ball rolled here to O'Nien. O'Nien wide then to Hjelde. Hjelde down the touchline. It will be headed away by Ayling, looking for Barlaser, who finds Howson but gives the ball away to Eckwa on the halfway line. And he rolls it out to Barr on the right. Barr now, he's got options. Eckwa ahead of him. He plays it back to Hume, who tries to side foot this in from 22 yards, palmed away by the goalkeeper. And now looking to break, Hackney, and Neal is with him. And Hackney gets away, tries to find Greenwood. It's blocked by O'Nien. The ball's spinning on the halfway line on the touchline. And Neil gets it to Clark. Clark now down this left-hand side into the penalty area on the left. Still going on his left to the goal line. Checks, brings it back, and now he needs some support. He's got Job out to the left of him. He pokes it right back to Ballard, just in front of the centre circle. He finds Hume to his right. And Hume looks to sweep one up for Burstow, headed away though by Barlaser from the edge of the penalty area, and then headed away again by Ayling, and picked up by Hume again just inside his half. Back to Ballard to O'Nien, back to his right to Ballard up towards the halfway line. On the right he's got Hume on the touchline. Aziz goes to close him down, slipped inside to Barr, and now down the right again to Hume. Burstow trying to make a run into the box, but it goes over him and Fry, drops for Ayling, and now he tries to pass it out. It'll come straight to Hjelde, and inside to Job, and in again to Ekwa, forwards trying to find Burstow, but it's cleared by Fry, right back up the other end to Anthony Patterson.
And that's one of the problems Sunderland have got. Did well, got behind him, put the ball in, only one person in the box.
Yeah, and that was the issue, and that's been a continuing issue. Here's Hjelde, Clark on the left, getting it forwards down the left wing again to Hjelde, and Hjelde's got Ayling on his shoulder. He breaks from him, swings the ball across the penalty area. Hume should run onto this at the corner of the box, and he's just got it at his feet, plays it to Ekwa, closed down by Barlaser, slips it to Barr back to Dan Neil. Neil's cross into the penalty area, straight to the goalkeeper, straight at him, and 0-0 in the 18th minute, and the ball.
I don't think it's going to end up 0-0, Nick.
Yeah, I think you're right. There's going to be a goal in it somewhere. Howson is in the middle of his half, leaves it for Vandenberg, who plays it back to Barlaser. Fry to his right, back to Dan Barlaser in the middle of the Middlesbrough half. Howson again at the edge of the centre circle. A little flick on by Force, looking for Greenwood, but cut out. It's for Job. Job looking for the run of Burstow. Tried to push it past Fry, but Fry intercepts and plays it back to Glover, the goalkeeper.
What Middlesbrough are doing, Barlaser's dropping back in and making the three centre-backs, and the two full-backs are pushed on his wing-backs.
Yeah.
They start off as a back four, but he goes in and makes that extra person as one of the centre-backs.
Vandenberg back to Glover. We look down from the main stand, looking across the port of Teesside, out to sea. Glover down away to our left. Here's Barlaser in the middle again, through the centre for Greenwood. Greenwood looking for the run of Force, and O'Nien's had to go with him. Force into the penalty area. O'Nien blocks it, and it's the first Middlesbrough corner of the game. That comes in the 20th minute.
Yeah, they've got to be wary of that, because Barlaser is just dropping in there, and he's the one who's picking out the passes.
So the first set piece for Sunderland defend, if you discount that Barlaser free kick, which was wide on the left touchline.
They've got to get somebody else out to him.
Two out in midfield, Hackney and Engel. Howson's back. Plenty of red shirts in the penalty area, and it's swept in to the back of the area. Hjelde lets it drop over his shoulder. Engel puts it back in and over the bar for a goal kick. Didn't quite come off for Middlesbrough.
But the worry is he was all on his own.
He was on his own, and he was given a bit of time. 0-0 then in the 21st minute, now almost halfway through the first half here. Ball back with Ballard. Michael Beal vigorously pushing his left hand out at players in the Sunderland half. Trying to break out here. O'Nien forwards to Job, back to O'Nien, Hackney's with him, O'Nien trying to take him on, finds Hjelde, forwards of him, Forster's trying to tap it away, and he has, to Aziz, looking for Hackney in the penalty area, could break for Greenwood, whipped off his feet by Hume, and Jobe takes it off Hume, nearly knocks him out of the game in the process, but Hume quickly picks himself up to his feet.
Yeah, Sunderland are causing themselves their own problems. Hjelde, yes, he likes to get forward. You know, you look at his starting positions at time, he's sort of playing in midfield, but when it breaks down, that's where we've got the problem.
I think from what Michael Beal has said, he wants to see the left-backs cutting inside to support Jack Clarke. Here's Dan Neil bringing this out again for Sunderland, something that Hume does well, but Hume's back at right back now, and here coming forward is Barr, taking on Engel, needs some help, Ekwa's behind him, there's nobody inside of him, he plays it back to Ekwa. And Ekwa now, just on halfway really, finds Ballard just behind him. Taps it again to Ekwa. His right arm, his right wrist is bandaged, Pierre Ekwa. Forwards to Jobe. Jobe back to Ballard, just right at the centre circle. Forwards to Barr. Back here to Dan Neil in the centre circle. And Neil out to Hjelde on the left-hand side, just in the Middlesbrough half, the former Leeds defender, who, again, Ayling will know all about. As Force cuts one out, Greenwood back to Howson, and then a foul on Johnny Howson. Free kick to Middlesbrough, Shaw inside to Dan Balassa. He dummies Barr, gets the ball out to Engel on the left wing, who takes this into the Sunderland half, back to Vandenberg, Howson, and back again to Dale Fry. Fry to Vandenberg, wide to Engel, back to Vandenberg, the Dutchman, and he looks for the run of Hayden Hackney, headed down by O'Nien though, and whipped away by Ballard to Ekwa to Barr. Barr has Burstow ahead of him, but the angles aren't right, and he's fouled by Vandenberg just inside the Middlesbrough half in the 23rd minute. Goalless still. O'Nien, Hjelde wide, Clarke ahead of him, back to Hjelde, back again to Patterson. Patterson has Ballard at the edge of the penalty area. O'Nien's further out, and he passes it to Luke O'Nien. Luke O'Nien getting away if he can from Greenwood, chased by Hackney. O'Nien still going. O'Nien now up towards the edge of the penalty area, plays it out to Clarke on the left, stays in the penalty area. O'Nien, Clarke tries to curl one through, gets a corner, slightest of deflections.
It must have been a slight,
very, very slight deflection.
Excellent run by O'Nien.
Yeah, from one end of the field, one edge of the penalty area to the other. Clarke across to take this fourth Sunderland corner, and Hume in the centre circle, Burstow in the 6-yard box. That rugby scrum just inside the penalty area. It's taken short to bar the corner. Back to Clarke. Clarke in midfield on the right. Clips this in with his left foot. Drops towards Jobe, who just side puts it outside of his foot, offside anyway, into the hands of the goalkeeper. 0-0 in the 25th minute here on BBC Radio Newcastle. Don't forget, Total Sport back tomorrow night, 6 o'clock, when we'll be looking back at Newcastle's game with Luton yesterday, this game as well. Sunderland women are playing Reading women at the moment. Here's Howson back to Vandenberg, and Howson, Vandenberg, and played out wide on the left to Engel, back inside to Howson, up to the halfway line, wide again to Engel, had to stretch it a bit to get it, but he's got it. Plays it back inside to Barlassa, and Barlassa now finds Hackney out to Ayling in front of Michael Beal, and now in front of Carrick, plays it down to Force inside to Hackney, and Hackney out to Ayling. Ayling looking to cut inside, flicking it down the right of the penalty area. Hackney, and a call for a handball on Hjelde. Barlassa plays on, Force crosses it, blocked by Ekwa, and cleared out to Fry. Strong appeals for handball, but the referee was yards away, and there weren't any appeals really beyond a short shot one from a couple of players. As the ball comes through to Greenwood, who's offside. Ballard whips the ball off him. Free kick to Sunderland.
Yeah, you know, I just think that, you know, but Balassa is the one who's pulling the strings. We're going to get tighter to him.
Yeah, they're trying to find him, aren't they? They're looking for him.
He's the one who's pulling the strings in there.
I've just watched the replay. It rolls down off Hjelder's arm. His arm was down by his side, and actually his upper arm. And I heard that debate in the Newcastle game yesterday with Razor and Ando. It's Durham Women 2, Sheffield United Women 0. They 2 kicked off at 12 o'clock. It was upper arm, it rolled off him. It wasn't intentional. Here's O'Nien to Neal. It's 0-0 still. Here's Hjelder back to O'Nien in the 27th minute now, across to Ballard on the right. Ballard, a reminder that Sunderland in their yellow blue sleeves this afternoon. Middlesbrough, of course, in their all red. Here's Ballard back to Luke O'Nien, and O'Nien swings it across to the right wing, looking for Hume, and he goes up with Engel. It drops for Barr, who nods it down to Hume, looking for Barr's run down the right. He nearly gets pushed in the back by Engel. Still has it though, Barr, almost on the goal line, trying to dribble in, being forced out by Aziz. He's at the corner of the penalty area and just lays it back off to Hume on the right. Hume into Ekwa, and Ekwa back behind him, Barr. Barr back out wide to Ekwa. He swings across in now, looking for Clark at the far post. It's put behind by Force for another corner.
Great ball in by Ekwa.
Clark looking to try and head it back. Marcus Force coming in and heading it out. On this left-hand side then, this 5th Sunderland corner. And you can hear the Sunderland fans over on that far corner. Clark, Barr's coming across again onto this left wing. Engel comes with him. Again, they set themselves up as though they're going to muck down for a scrum here. The ball is swept in by Clark. Ballard's header comes off Burstow, and Joe out to Ekwa, who's trying to put it back in the box. And there's a foul by O'Nien on Force. There's Barge's Force in the back. Free kick to Middlesbrough. Middlesbrough 0, Sunderland 0. And yeah, not a lot between the two. Bright start by Sunderland, but Middlesbrough certainly grown into the game.
Yeah, they have, and they're a threat. You know, there's a couple of times they have got behind us. Just about final passes let them down. And again, there's Balassa on the ball.
At home, 1-6, drawn 2, lost 6. So they go for it by the looks of things. Here's Job. He's been closed down by Howson, and now he's caught by Hackney. Hackney has Force to his right, he shoots. Patterson had it covered, it's wide of the right post.
Can't afford to lose it in the middle of the park, Nick.
And they sweep forward, don't they? That 3. Force, Greenwood and Aziz are a threat. Hayden Hackney, the 21-year-old from Redcar, winning that ball, trying his luck. 0-0. Ballard brings the ball out. Ballard to Neal. Hume wide. Hume back to Dan Neal wide, and he's played it inside to Dan Ballard. Ballard now in the middle of the Sunderland half to Job, just ahead of him. Back to O'Nien, looking for Burstow, and now he's won it in the end actually, because Balassa slipped over. It's back to Hume, and now Balassa gets up and cuts the ball out to Ekwa. So Balassa's got the ball at his feet and finds Howson in the centre circle. Through the middle, Greenwood. He's found Hackney, quick ball, but he's given it to Hjelder. And Hjelder, as Greenwood picks himself up off the grass, Hjelder bringing it up towards the halfway line, looking for an option. He's got Clark wide, but he's gone back, and he's gone back again. He's trying to cut inside, but plays it back to Luke O'Nien, who plays it back to Patterson. Patterson then with the kick out wide to Hume. Hume just keeps it in, does he? Yes. Flag stays down. Hume's got Barr ahead of him, and Barr now down that right touchline. He's got Engel to come round, and he gets round him into the penalty area on his left foot, into the hands of Tom Glover.
Well done.
It's on target. That coming in the 31st minute. So 0-0. on the right. Howson onto halfway, forced to Hackney, looking for the runner, Greenwood, out comes Patterson, flags up, and what's the referee indicating here? The free kick for a visit?
Yeah.
Was it offside or was it a foul by Greenwood? It could have been either, wouldn't it?
But again, that intricate passing in there, Nick, every time they're cutting us open, they're going to get one right.
Yeah, I think it's a warning. Here's Ballard. Short pass through the middle to Ekwa. Ekwa blocked by Hackney. It forced, fortunately for Hume, forwards to Barr, inside to Ekwa. Barlassa goes to close him down. Ekwa knocks it out.
He knocks it off him.
In front of Barr. It's a throw to Middlesbrough. 32nd minute. Taken by Engel. Back to Vandenberg. Into the middle to Fry. Just behind the centre circle.
Barlassa will get on the ball.
Barlassa will want it. He's in the centre circle.
Yeah,
sorry, he's just in front. Yeah, he's played it to his left to Vandenberg. Out wide to Engel, back to Howson. Vandenberg, Barlassa, well, he's directing operations in halfway. Fry behind him and back to the goalkeeper. And Barr and Clark looking to press, as is Burstow, but it's driven through the middle by Glover. Manhandling going on between Force and O'Nien. Ballard tidies up back to Patterson, who's closed down by Greenwood. Swings the ball out to Hjelde on the left wing. Hjelde flicks it back inside, but straight here to Hackney, who's trying to lob Patterson. It's a weak effort. Straight back to the goalkeeper, who catches it on the left and drops it at the feet of Dan Ballard. 33rd minute, and Ballard now in this sort of last 5-10 minutes, it's Sunderland struggling to get out of their half. Ball played to O'Nien. Job ahead of him. Dan Neil to Hjelde. Hjelde back again to O'Nien, and across to Ballard. Ballard wide again to Barr as they try and find an opening here. Sunderland. Hume plays it back, but it's straight to Hayden Hackney, and they've given it away now. Middlesbrough to Barr, but Engel pushes Barr over. Engel is furious. He's apoplectic with the assistant
for that, wouldn't he?
And I think he could get a yellow card for that. He's being ushered over to the referee. His reaction was, it's going to be a card for Engel.
There's no way he's going to get away with that, is he?
It was furious, the way he reacted, and it was a clear push from the Dane. Can't really see what his anger's all about. Free kick then wide here on the right for Sunderland, halfway inside the Middlesbrough half. Trey Hume,
I think Barr
take it.
I think Barr picked a yellow up as well.
Did he?
For waving, didn't he?
I'll give you the benefit of the doubt there. The way the cameras, he did. Yeah,
he was waving the card gesture, wasn't he?
Yeah, that's.
You can't do that.
No. Well, that's just stupid, isn't it? You know, you have plenty of time to consider your actions after the event there, and it's silly of Barr. Not that in the wider scheme of things, it'll just be a fine that hurts him, not the yellow card itself. As it's threaded through here to Barr in the penalty area on the right hand side. He tries to take it on his right into the side netting. He had Joe behind him, who's leant over like almost, why didn't you just pass it back to me? But Barr decided to take it on his own, put it on his right, and drove it into the side netting on the angle.
Do you know what you put that down to?
Overconfidence.
Inexperience.
Yeah. Oh well, 0-0. He did have options behind him. Ball played through the middle by Barlassa, headed away by O'Nien onto halfway. Aziz now looking for Hackney, out to Ayling on the right wing. Ayling, Hjelde goes to close him down, slipped inside here at the edge of the penalty area to Force, who's got O'Nien with him. Hackney, straight at the head of Ballard, who didn't know a great deal about it, sort of smacked him on the forehead and cleared. Howson puts it back in again down the left-hand side now for Aziz. He's gone wide, Hume's gone with him, the cross is still made, and Hjelde heads it out, and Burstow wins it in front of Barlassa, leaves it for Job, trying to get it through now to Clark. Jack Clark in the middle of his own half rolls it back to Hume, and a pause to take stock, and Hume plays it wide to Barr. Engels on his shoulder. Barr plays it back here to Ballard at the edge of the area, closed down by Greenwood, and Greenwood manages to get a foot to it and put it behind for a goal kick. They applaud his perseverance and tenacity. But it's a goal kick to Sunderland. It's 0-0 still. We're in the 36th minute. I think we all felt there wouldn't be a great deal between these two.
Yeah, I just think we need a little bit more from the likes of Equa.
Here's Hackney's won it down the right, and a foul on O'Nien.
I just think Equa, the likes of Job, needs to get into the game.
Yeah. As you say, Barlassa's winning that battle in the middle.
He is, he's pulling the strings in there, Nick.
Patterson's going to take the... that O'Nien does, just taps it to Patterson. Alone in his penalty area, pretty much. He plays it out to the left to O'Nien. O'Nien bringing this forwards down the left hand, laying it off to Kjelder. There's a late challenge by Greenwood on O'Nien. O'Nien's had a word with the referee. He's having...
He's saying how many times?
Yeah. Referee Darren England comes back on the shoulder of Luke O'Nien, having a word with him. And a little conversation is one-sided, actually. Does that count as a conversation or a monologue?
Or talking to yourself?
Yeah. I suspect that's how O'Nien's seen it. He takes the free kick, swings it out wide on the right, looking for Hume, who gets his head to it. Barr's going to try and beat Vandenberg to it, gets in front of the Dutchman, down into the corner, and both tumble over the touchline, and it's a throw to Middlesbrough.
I think Dan Neil now is trying to orchestrate things in midfield. We need a little bit more from Bannigan. We need a little bit more from Equa. They need to up the tempo a little bit.
Throw then will be taken by Lucas Engel, 25-year-old Dane signed from Silkeborg in the summer. Equa's won it here, but he's been tackled. It's a throw to Middlesbrough again. Still deep in the Middlesbrough half on the left-hand side. And still goalless here at the Riverside, as it's headed back by Equa into the path of Neil. Neil trying to get through to the edge of the area, into the penalty area, blocked. Then Hackney wins it for Vandenberg, and then Engel pushing it out on that left-hand side to Aziz and back to Engel on the touchline. And the longer ball forwards for Force to chase, but headed away on halfway by O'Nien. Back from Hume to Ballard, inside to Job. And Job now in the centre circle. Kjelder going with him on his shoulder and out to the left to Clark. Clark ailing in front of him. Cuts inside Jack Clark and still has it. He's closed down by Hackney. And now trying to get it away from Greenwood. Finds Ballard. Ballard bringing this into the Middlesbrough half down the right-hand side. He's pushed, was he, by Force. And it's a free kick on the right of midfield to Sunderland again. Word having a quick word with Marcus Force. Ballard gets to his feet and just taps the ball back to Neil. Forwards to Equa, back to Neil, and out wide to Hume. Hume on the touchline, Barr just ahead of him, inside to Equa. Equa clips one in, looking for Job. The keeper's caught it above Job's head. And we'll roll it into the path of Howson. Howson through straight to Neil. Now Job in the penalty area on the left-hand side. Clark making a run inside. Job trying to get to the goal line and dribble away from there. Passing it into Clark in front of the keeper. Clark teeing up Barr. Saved on the line by the feet of Vandenberg. How did Barr miss? 40th minute. Barr had effectively an open goal and Vandenberg blocked it on the line. 3 yards out. That looked to me like it was going to be the opener. Great work by Clark.
It should have been the opener.
It should have been the opener. As away comes Hackney in the centre circle, leaving it for Aziz. Aziz now needs support. Force has made a run through. He's played it to his right to Ayling. Ayling inside again to Aziz, tries to drive it into the box, O'Nien heads it out, and we are still 0-0, remarkably.
I thought Jack Clark was going to finish it, but credit to him, he gave it to Barr on a plate.
All he had to do was smash it. Smash it, man! Oh, that was an opportunity. Now here's Clark, it's beaten to it by Fry, plays it through to Greenwood. Greenwood now to Hackney. Hackney back straight to Ekwa. Greenwood's picking himself off the floor again. Ekwa plays it straight through to Fry. Now with Barlassa in the centre circle. Barlassa coming forwards, 42nd minute, Aziz, and he's got Engel on the left of the penalty area. Aziz still going with it himself, tries to drive it through here for Hackney. Comes off the ankle of Fjelde. It was heading for the bottom corner, but it comes off the Norwegian and out to Barr on the right now, taking on Barlassa. Barlassa slides in, it's a throw to Sunderland. Hume slowly jogs down to take the throw for Sunderland on the right.
You know, we talked about Barr before the game, Nick, in regards of consistency, you know, making the right decisions. He's had 2 great opportunities.
On my notes it goes, as you look down vertically, Barr, 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 blah, blah, blah.
There's a song to that.
Well, there is
a song to that.
But he's had 3 opportunities, Barr. 3, and one of them is superb. Here is Hackney. He's got Greenwood and Aziz and Force forwards. It's come back again though on the left. Engel to Hackney, back to Engel on the left wing, and Ekwa goes to close him down. Aziz, Ballard behind him. Ballard's penalised, and there's a lot of pointing going on from the referee back at Engel as well, so they could have, I think what he's saying, given 2 free kicks. 31,716, I gather, is the attendance this afternoon. Barlas is going to take the free kick again wide on the left as we approach half-time. So 0-0. Lined up on the edge of the penalty area, Sunderland. Inside to Engel, the free kick. O'Nien heads it away. A chase for Dan Neal to get there before Ayling, and he hooks it out for a throw. Down the right side. Ayling waiting for the ball to come back down to him. He'll take the throw for Middlesbrough.
This is when you concentrate, Nick. You know, you're right on the edge of half-time.
Yeah, yeah.
You don't want to switch off now.
Here's Barlassa in the middle.
You've got to get out to him.
Vandenberg to his left, out to Engel on the left in the 44th minute. It goes out for a throw to Middlesbrough. Chase to get the ball. It's taken from almost on the advertising board by Engel. Howson in the centre circle. To his left, Barlassa out again to Engel. Back to Vandenberg. Vandenberg to Fry in the centre. And he pushes it to Barlassa on halfway on the left, and Burstow goes to close him down. He gets it wide again to Engel. Engel forced back by Barr, inside to Aziz. Behind him is Vandenberg. Vandenberg back deep into his own half, and Barlassa's to the left of him in support. He goes right to Fry, closed down by Clark, back to Vandenberg. Burstow on his shoulder, gives chase, but Glover will just push it out again with his right foot to the Dutchman and out wide to the Dane. Engel down the line on that far side to Greenwood, who's wide, and he comes back all the way to the corner of his own penalty area to Vandenberg, out to Howson in the middle in the last minute of the first half, through onto halfway, and Aziz out to the left wing, and Engel forwards to Greenwood on that side, and Hume's on his shoulder trying to get it off him and finds Ekwa, but Engel intercepts in front of Barr and gets it back here to Glover, who's come way out of his penalty area and just taps it to Vandenberg through the middle here, trying to get Hackney away.
So easy.
Hackney's fouled by Neal, and again there's going to be 1 minute of added time. There could have been 2 free kicks there. It's pulled back to the initial one,
switched off,
and Howson tries to take it quickly. Once it's going to be taken again, and another half-time added time sponsored. Here's Barlaser wide again to Engel, looking for Hackney, lets it run through. It'll come through though to Patterson. Patterson just leans over with his right hand, scoops it up. And we've got 25 seconds left of the first half, of the additional minute. It's goalless. The players head towards this near touchline, and by that also means the tunnel, positioning themselves to make a quick escape in the next few seconds. There's the ball here with Clark, breaks for Aziz, behind him is Barlaser, and up and under down the right wing. O'Nien watches it drop over his shoulder. Force trying to win it off him. O'Nien out to the almost to the corner flag, and then he's pushed over, and a free kick.
He's got to get booked, hasn't he? He's got Greenwood, you know, that's about the third time.
Well, the referee's been halted in his tracks by Hume at the corner of the penalty area. He's blown the half-time whistle, but I'm waiting to see what he does here. Greenwood's making sure he's wide of the pitch as he strolls back towards the tunnel. It's goalless at half-time. Shouldn't be really, because Barr had a perfect opportunity. O'Nien's limping.
Interesting to see.
Michael Beale's out on the pitch with Barr and Ekwa.
Yeah.
I'm not sure what that's all about.
He needs to wake up as well, Ekwa. You know, at times I think it's too casual at times, you know, even going into tackles. Got to close down people a little bit quicker.
Well, Beal is covering his mouth as the camera's on him as he talks to Ekwa. Luke O'Nien's hobbling off here with the physio on his shoulder, heading down towards the tunnel. Yeah, first half where Greenwood could have scored after 8 minutes when he was through. Patterson made a block. Clark tried to squeeze one in at the near post. We had Hume from 22 yards. Barr, but Barr's best chance, 3 yards out, 40th minute, smash one, should have hit it harder. And somehow Vandenberg on the line, he got it sort of caught up under his feet, but he got it clear.
No. Sunderland have had the better opportunities, and what I mean by that is that, you know, you look at the one what Clark's trying to squeeze in near post, Barr, wrong decisions, trying to squeeze in near post, and then the one where Jack Clark's done tremendous. He could have took the shot himself. He's laid Barr up. You've got to put your foot through it and score. It's simple as that.
You have mentioned it, and Michael Beale's obviously aware of it. The reason he pulled Pierre Ekwa as they were walking off the pitch.
Yeah, and again, you know, Ekwa, he's a big lad,
in the chat,
but he needs
happy with
do things quicker, doesn't he? You know, he seems to just go through the motions, you know, in everything he does. You know, he controls the ball. There's no
guys ready for the
tempo to
socials?
You know, there's no tempo for him to close down.
Couple of things then to address in the second half, or in the half-time interval for Sunderland ahead of the second half. But it is goalless at the break. We've got the full second half, of course, to come on BBC Radio Newcastle and safc.com at half-time. It is Middlesbrough 0, Sunderland 0.
Peter says we have to when you're listening to your favourite show on the radio.
Neil, Bart and Bellingham are absolutely terrible. And Scott says,
with more smart speakers, you can ask BBC Sounds to pause, rewind, and restart live radio, so you never miss a single moment. Get more from your smart speaker. To get started, just say, ask BBC Sounds.
Dominic James back in the BBC Radio Newcastle studio. Middlesbrough 0, Sunderland 0 at half time. Bar had a couple of good chances though.
Someone says, I don't know why people's mourning so
the lead.
much.
Back to the Riverside shortly then for second half commentary with Nick Barnes and Gary Bennett. Just a reminder then on the championship results yesterday. QPR beat Blackburn 2-1, Huddersfield 4-0 winners over Sheffield Wednesday. Hull 1-0 Hull beat Millwall 1-0. Norwich 2-1 winners over Coventry. Preston 3-2 winners over Ipswich. Southampton went and won away to Rotherham 2-0. Leicester winning 5-0 away at Stoke. Plymouth winning on the road too. They were at Swansea 1-0 there. Cardiff also winning on the road. 1-0 winners over Watford. West Brom beat Tony Mowbray's Birmingham 1-0. Sunderland could go back up to the sixth and into the playoff places with a win today. I think stands just up the place into 8th. In the Premier League, we had our other Commentary game yesterday here on BBC Radio Newcastle. Newcastle's 4-4 draw with Luton at St James's Park. United coming back after being 4-2 down at one point. Here's the Magpies head coach, Eddie Howe.
We're disappointed. We're frustrated. We feel, especially the way we started the game, that we could go on and win the game. Really stamp our authority in the match, and we didn't do that, and Luton kept coming back at us and showed why they're in a very good run of form themselves. I thought it was a very good game. It was very open. Both teams trying to sort of take the initiative to each other. Yeah, ultimately we're disappointed not to win, but also probably grateful not to lose, being 4-2 down as well. We needed some inspiration that came from various players. I think they all stood up. Certainly not an easy moment for us, and I think when you look back throughout the season, we haven't come back enough from losing positions, so that's a big step forward.
Eddie, what a moment for Harvey Barnes to score what proved to be the equaliser, a crucial goal for you after a really tough time out with injury. What do you think that meant to him?
Well, it meant a huge amount to him. I think when he came to the football club, his determination was to try and score a lot of goals, win us matches, carry on the form that he showed for Leicester last year. And it was a big blow for all of us when he got injured, and a serious injury that it was. But to come back like he did today with that finish, I mean, what a goal. Off his wrong foot to find the corner from that range wasn't lost on me. It was a magnificent strike.
And he came on at half-time in a double change. One of the players going off was Anthony Gordon, who we've seen has left the stadium with a protective boot on. Can you tell us more about the injury there?
Yeah, unknown, really. I think he twisted his ankle.
Ed says Bar had two edge opportunities
to continue, so we made the change.
Leighton says, got to up the tempo and increase the urgency.
In various positions, he's been
Topsy T, hello, how you doing?
He's not out for any length of time.
Newcastle head coach Eddie Howe talking to BBC Newcastle's Matthew Raceback after the Magpies 4-4 draw with Luton at St James's Park yesterday. The full interview on BBC Sounds. Also yesterday in the Premier League, Everton drew 2-2 with Tottenham. Brighton beat Crystal Palace 4-1. It was a 2-2 draw between Fulham and Burnley. Sheffield United losing 5-0 at home, though. Aston Villa were the visitors there, beating Sheffield United 5-0. Meanwhile, today at 2 o'clock, Bournemouth are against Nottingham Forest. Chelsea are against Wolves. Manchester United take on West Ham at Old Trafford. All 2 o'clock kickoffs there. And at 4:30.
What's happened with Eddie Howe? Like, have I missed something? Was this for yesterday's game?
At the Emirates today in the Women's Championship, Sunderland women are away to Reading. Still goalless there at half-time. Louise Griffiths being sent off for Sunderland, though, after 35 minutes. Durham are against Sheffield United at Maiden Castle. It's 2-2 there. Amy Andrews and Beth Heppel with the goals for Durham. And in the Women's National League today at 2 o'clock, Newcastle are against Wolves at Kingston Park. And non-league-wise, yesterday, Gateshead went away to Southend and won 1-0. The Gateshead manager Rob Elliott spoke to us on our local football roundup last night.
Fantastic win. Lads were tremendous, to be honest with you, so makes the long journey worth it. I said to the lads, I was like, if you can put all this effort in, sacrifice all the time and the journey and everything. Left at 8, got to the hotel at 6 yesterday because we trained on the way down.
That was an interview,
let's make it worth it. And I thought we was excellent from start till about the 75th minute when we have to accept that Southend were putting balls in the box and we defended brilliantly well. Rode our luck with a ball hitting the bar, but overall I thought we were really good for the win.
Marcus Denanga as well, because he's scored in cup competitions, but that was his first league goal since September, and like all strikers, their confidence comes from scoring goals. That could be a big goal for him today.
Yeah, I think so. We had a good chat in the week about a bit more intent, wanting to run in behind, wanting to attack the goal, and I think he made the goal. We went in on the second, third attempt, but I think he made it with his desire and mentality, and he still scored. I think I might be right, but I'm sure he pretty certainly scored 18 goals this season.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
These you can't just score every week. If he could, it'd be fantastic, and he definitely wouldn't be with us still. So Marcus is still a work in progress, but when you've got someone who can sort of occupy three defenders in one go, he allows us to do other things. So when he doesn't score against Barnet, I thought he was absolutely outstanding. He doesn't get his goal, and he gets his goal today.
Signing, very positive.
Really pleased for him, and really pleased for the team, because to keep a clean sheet at Southend, I don't think many people will do that.
That's the Gateshead manager Rob Elliott speaking after their 1-0 win away to Southend yesterday in the National League. In the National League North, Blythe Spartans lost 5-2 away to Hereford. South Shields picked up a good draw away to Scarborough Athletic, finished 1-1 there. He is the Shields head coach.
Just once again, thanks for everybody for being loyal and sticking with me on this match commentary.
Sun at a horrible height. The wind was blown down towards our goal. So I thought we actually did well first half. Maybe he's not played as fluently as we want, but you know, we stuck together. You know, a real good solid team performance. Scored a really good goal. Blackie scoring again, which is fantastic for him. So yeah, you know, in terms of football wise, yeah, it wasn't as good as at times as what it was midweek or like it was second half. So you know, second half we played some good stuff, dominated the game. I felt probably standing here feeling a little bit hard done by that. We probably should have come away with more than a 1-1 draw, which is, you know, it's a really difficult place to come and get a result, to be fair. So you know, we're in a way we're pleased that, you know, we didn't lose the game, but you know, in there we all feel like we probably
need to spread the play more.
To certainly win the game. You know, you've always got to give the opposition a little bit of credit. You know, they made it difficult at times. You know, they had a good shape and made it hard for us to play sort of through, definitely in the final third. But you know, I just felt we dominated the ball, and I thought we used the ball well, and I think, you know, just a little bit more care around the box, some of our decision making. You know, just tidying up when we get into critical areas. You know, whether we should cross it, whether we should try to work it in. You know, just little things like that, and also just a little bit more movement. But hey, that's on me. That's for me to and the rest of the staff, for us to help the players with, and for us to work on.
Repeat the question. I just started down into the back for a second. What was the question?
Something like what we've done today, where it's you know, it's hard to break down, but like, not taking anything away from the players. You know, we've had a trip to Hereford midweek. You know, we're fantastic. We've come here, which is a difficult place to come. You know, and like I say, I'm standing here feeling, as we all are, that we probably deserve more from the game.
That is the South Shields
head coach Elliot
Dickon speaking after their 1-1 draw
if we get a point today,
away to Scarborough Athletic yesterday. Meanwhile, in the Northern Premier Division, Morpeth lost 4-3 away to Atherton. In the East Division, we had a couple of derbies. Heaven beat Consett 3-1. Dunstan beating Ashington 4-1. In Rugby Union, there was no Newcastle Falcons this weekend, with it being in the opening weekend of the Six Nations on Friday. Ireland beat France 38-17.
If it's a scrappy 1-0 defeat,
England
I mean,
were in Rome
I'm not
going
to be a big allowed
Italy.
because,
They
I mean, we
beat
had the
Italy
ball at our
27
mercy
points to 24, so
if we're not going to take our chances, we're going to have Pep Guardiola in charge.
Spoke to our reporter Sarah Orchard.
It's pleasing to start with the first game with a win, obviously.
But if we get piled
I think we'll build
half,
through this tournament. I think we'll get better as a team. As you start looking now, there's almost a contrast today. You've got playing against an Italian side that was dominated by Treviso players who played together week in, week out, sitting second in USC. And you see an England team with 5 debutants. So we knew it was going to be a challenge. It really was. Pleased we came through the challenge.
Depends what tactics he does, what subs he brings on, and what time.
Are you frustrated with the decision making at the end? You could have got away with a 13-point win. It's a 3-point win.
And we'll back the players to make decisions, and you know, certainly the decisions, the execution would be. So we'll work on that, and we'll make sure it's better. There's certain experiences you go through and you make sure you learn.
10, 15 minutes.
We'll make sure we debrief this game thoroughly. There's plenty of lessons in it for us.
And just lastly, on the debutants, Ethan
Root,
any more
answers
and stuff, or any more pins
to crack Middlesbrough
it's terrific.
I think then I would say it's sooner rather than later get the changes on, especially
to be here at the
let's see our new sign and Brundle and actually see what he's like. Why not?
I think we're going to go on to have brilliant England careers, and to be here at the start, you know, I'm so happy for them. Ethan in particular, I thought he was tremendous, and he's been tremendous since
shut the
he came
door.
to camp, and every interaction I've had with him has just been excellent.
That is England head coach Steve Borthwick there, speaking after England's win over Italy yesterday in the Rugby Union's Six Nations. Elsewhere, Scotland beat Wales 27-26 in Cardiff. A very close match, that one as well. In cricket, though, day 3 of the second test between India and
Why have you gone off like?
India were bowled out for 255 runs in their second innings and set England 399 runs to win. England closed the day on 67 for 1, so require 332 more runs to win. Ben Duckett was the one to lose his wicket, 28 off 27 he got. Zach Crawley is currently not out on 29.
Just look back on
your the night watchman.
When you went live and
not out. Moving on to some basketball then in the BBL Championship. Newcastle Eagles will be looking to bounce back after their defeat on Friday. They lost 105-87 to the London Lions. They played the Cheshire Phoenix tonight. It's a 6 o'clock tip-off in the WBL Championship. Last night the Newcastle Eagles lost at home to the Essex Rebels. Essex winning 83-68 there. In the darts in Milton Keynes in the Masters last night, Chris Dobey lost to Michael van Gerwen in the round of 16, lost 10 legs to 4. And in the cyclocross World Championship in the Czech Republic this weekend, yesterday Gateshead's Anna Kay was in action in the women's elite race. She finished 17th out of a field of 32. And then today in the men's elite, which gets underway at 1:30, Thomas Main, also of Gateshead, is the only Briton in the men's race. He is in action there. You can watch those races back on the BBC iPlayer.
How you doing, guys?
And
so we happy with the result
Masters last night. Newcastle Sam Craigie lost in the semi-final to Judd Trump 6 frames to 2. Time then to head back to the Riverside for second half commentary.
Did you take the point answer today?
In the company of Nick Barnes and Gary Bennett.
Total Sport North East.
Nick Barnes and Gary Bennett MBE.
BBC Radio Newcastle.
Well, timely return as Sunderland emerge. First from the tunnel, then Johnny Howson emerges leading his Middlesbrough team out. Sunderland all in yellow, blue sleeves. Middlesbrough all in red, 0-0 at half-time. And no changes made by either coach for the second half. It could go either way, and I still think it's going to be one. If it goes either way, it looks like the sort of game, says he, tempting fate here. There's only going to be one game in it, isn't there? Yeah, you're right. And so, referee Darren England heads out into the middle, all in black. Sunderland away to our left as we look down from this main stand, looking out to sea, and Middlesbrough to our right.
Screen.
No, I'm avoiding the screen. I'm avoiding the screen because it's back to front.
I asked this question to Mary yesterday week.
It will get me into all sorts of trouble if I start trying to follow it on two fronts.
There we go.
As
I'm going to put myself on mute now,
so
you guys can hear
underway. Comes back to Hjelde over on that left-hand side, down that touchline to Jack Clark, inside to Job, who's tackled by Howson, but Job trying to win it back. He's fouled by Howson.
Play on.
And yet, quickly get on with it, and Job does. He finds Ekwa, who lays it off to Ballard on the right here, and out wide to Hume, who's given the ball away to Barlassa, who gets it behind into Aziz, on halfway on the left, back behind him to Engel, and into Fry, eventually. The Borough team, Glover in goal, Ayling, Vandenberg, Fry and Engel, Howson, Barlassa, Force, Aziz, Hackney and Greenwood. The Sunderland team, as the floodlights suddenly seemed to got brighter then, or was that just me?
No, it's the floodlights.
They did, didn't they? They came on.
Yeah.
Patterson in goal, Hume, Ballard, O'Nien and Hjelde. Hackney's on the break here, but O'Nien's got it covered, has he? He's over in the corner and gets the ball inside to Job, to Hjelde, back to O'Nien, who tries to dig this out and gets it up towards halfway. It's headed on by Barlassa. Neil Ekwa, Bar, Job, Clark and Burstow. Jack Clark pursuing the ball to the goalkeeper, is outside his area, who does just get it to Barlassa, and out wide here now to Engel. Engel into the Sunderland half, and the ball cut out by O'Nien because running through the centre was Hackney. And he would have been onto it, wouldn't he?
Excellent touch.
So, an early alarm bell as Neil brings it out for Hjelde, inside to Clark. Howson on his shoulder, we're on the touchline with Clark again. It's put out by Force. Delay before the assistant finally flags for a Sunderland throw. 10-15 yards inside of that, the Middlesbrough half. Next up for Middlesbrough is a home game against Bristol City next weekend, as Ekwa tries to block one back by Middlesbrough though. Aziz, a bit of a shirt pull by Barr, but it's out wide on the right. Ayling inside to Hackney. Hackney back to Luke Ayling on the right wing, on loan from Leeds of course. Tries to find Force down the right side of the penalty, pulls it back here now. Ayling blocked by Hume on the 6-yard line. Ayling just trying to thread it through a shot, but blocked, and Ballard's fouled. And a free kick, foul by Force in both senses, and it's a free kick on the left side,
I think,
of midfield.
I'm just looking at Joe Bellingham. It's like he's got a long stride trying to close down. It's like he doesn't cover the ground quickly, does he? Doesn't get across quickly.
He lopes.
He lopes, yes, he does. You know, going to close somebody down, he's just...
Here's O'Nien from the free kick, back to Patterson, who's in light blue, down to our left, out to Ballard again. Greenwood gives chase. Greenwood's playing as the number 9 for Middlesbrough this afternoon, the Sunderland-born striker. He's not really, but a striker. And out to Hjelde, forwards to Clark, back behind Hjelde. Has to come back to the corner of his penalty area and just helped it on its way to Patterson. Patterson passed it again to Hjelde, the left corner of the Sunderland penalty area, and he swings it over to the right wing here. Hume has driven it out. Really didn't give Hume much hope of getting that. Engel will take the throw for Middlesbrough. Back to Vandenberg on the halfway line. Into Howson. Burstow goes to close him down. Here's Howson again from Fry, back to Fry. Fry out to Vandenberg and wide on the left to Engel. Engel back to Vandenberg, and now Aziz, Finn Aziz to Engel, back on the halfway line to Vandenberg. Ekwa goes to close him down, gives him a nudge just to make him aware he's there. It comes back to Dale Fry. Burstow in front of him, Barlaser through to Howson, tackled by Jobe, gets the ball now here to Barr. He's got a lot of work to do on his own here, needs some support. Hume is behind him, and now Ekwa back again to Ballard. Ballard to O'Nien. O'Nien out wide to the left. Clark just in the Middlesbrough half, comes back into the Sunderland half. Behind him is Hjelde. Leo Hjelde into O'Nien, and O'Nien to Ballard. Ballard out wide again to Hume. Hume closed down by Engel, looks for Barr. Big shoulder on him from Vandenberg. They win the ball back. Here's Greenwood in the middle, just trying to lift it across to the right wing. Forced, and Hjelde goes shoulder to shoulder, the Norwegian against the Finn. The Norwegian wins it, finds Neil. Now Jobe. Jobe trying to get away from Greenwood, and Greenwood still sticking with Jobe on the touchline. Jobe turns inside and plays it into the middle to Dan Ballard. Ballard out to Hume. Hume looks up, looking for the run of Jobe, but it's headed back by Ayling to goalkeeper Tom Glover. 0-0 still. We're in the 51st minute here at the Riverside. Glover bowls this out, the goalkeeper in his black and grey goalkeeping kit. Out on the left wing, Engel inside in the middle, Howson, Burstow on his shoulder, quick push on Howson, but he's got the ball to Fry, and then to Hackney just in front of him, and then Barlaser on halfway. Hackney again, cut out by Ekwa. One back though by Aziz, who gets it to Hackney and out to the left here. Hume tries to make a block, the ball put out by Engel. A throw to Sunderland on the right.
And you've seen in the second half, Ekwa is a little bit more livelier, isn't he?
Yeah. A bit more energy about him. Here's Barr. Back to Hume, inside to Ekwa. Out. Oh, he's passed it out here for a throw to Middlesbrough. A bit too much energy. Engel back to Vandenberg, down the line again to Engel, inside to Barlaser. Engel into the middle again to Howson. Howson wide on the right is Ayling in acres of space, but they've kept it in the middle here, and Hjelde's got to be aware of him over there. Here's Barlaser again, and Barlaser, he's taken it left this time to Aziz. An Engel on the overlap, but a block by Hume, but it's one back by Aziz in front of Barr. He just rolls it into the penalty area, cut out by Neil for a throw to Middlesbrough. On the left here, halfway inside the Sunderland half. Engel quickly back to Vandenberg, into Howson in the centre circle. Burstow closes him down, back to Fry behind him, forwards to Barlaser. Barlaser is fouled by Burstow.
We've just got to pick it up a little bit, Nick.
Vandenberg out to Engel.
They seem to be controlling the game at the present moment, Middlesbrough.
Yeah, they are, aren't they? I mean, it's Sunderland finding it hard to keep hold of the ball.
Too easy, he's offside.
Playing it through to Greenwood, who's offside.
Offside.
Flag is up.
Well, Nick, we've said that.
Middlesbrough fans, but the flag is up.
Yeah, we've said that 2 or 3 occasions. Greenwood's just been a little bit unlucky. He's going a bit early, and he's been caught 2 or 3 times offside. He's just playing on the shoulder. He's good. They're going to get one of them right.
Well, at the moment they might, because they are controlling it. As you say. I mean, they're winning every second ball.
Barlaser in there is just playing things simple.
When they lose it, they
through balls. It's too easy to cut through us.
Hjelde looking for Clark down the left wing, heads it on. Burstow's not going to get there. Fry gets it. Howson back to the goalkeeper. Glover comes outside of his penalty area, through the middle, as you say, to Barlaser.
Barlaser again.
And he will play it away to the right now, looking for Hackney, and Ayling down the line. Ayling down the right touchline. Force wants it played in front of him. Ayling's looking up and now checking, and will play it behind him to Hackney, inside to Howson, back to Ayling on the right, and he pulls it into the penalty area, cleared by O'Nien. And
you've got to head
it ahead of Equa. Howson, now Hackney through to Force, back to Ayling at the corner of the penalty area on his left, and he's played his left foot, curling shot well wide for a goal kick.
We need to get hold of this game. You need to say, you know, what I would say, Equa, go on Barlaser, stop him. That's all you've got to do.
Press.
We'll waste the player, stop him, he's pulling all the strings.
54th minute, Middlesbrough 0, Sunderland 0, live on BBC Radio Newcastle. Total Sport, back tomorrow night, 6 o'clock, with Pridey, Marco.
Look at this, he comes straight, what's he going to do with that?
To Burstow, heads it straight to Engel. And Engel back to Fry.
That's where Equa should be on Barlaser, nowhere he is.
To Barlaser, but they're not. Burstow reacts finally, but it's with Fry again, out to Ayling on the right touchline. The now 32-year-old on loan from Leeds, inside to Howson, back to Fry. Ayling's very, very highly thought of at Leeds, isn't he? I think they were disappointed to see him go. But here's Dale Fry pushing it on to Hackney. Hayden Hackney out to Howson and wide to Ayling, blocked by Hjelde. Leaves it for Clark. Clark trying to weave away now from Ayling. Gets away from him. Now goes through the middle, trying to find Burstow. Burstow loses it at the edge of the penalty area. Aziz will knock it out. Looking for the runner. Greenwood. Flag will go up.
And who made the pass?
Barlaser made the pass. And interestingly, I mean, the flag came up. There was no contact on the ball, but they decided obviously that Greenwood was going to get to it and just flag for the offside late. O'Nien with a free kick to Ballard, forced to Neal, back to O'Nien. O'Nien to Ballard. Ballard calling players to him, out to Hume on the right wing, cut out by Engel. Throw to Sunderland, a rare foray into the Middlesbrough half here, but can they put something together? As Burstow is trying to get the ball away. It comes back here to Neal in the centre circle. Burstow picks himself up. It's Hjelde. Hjelde has Force in front of him, leaves it for O'Nien in the middle. And O'Nien now. And Greenwood goes and closes down with Hackney and Force. Neal to Equa, the edge of the centre circle. And he leaves it for Ballard on this right-hand side, down the right wing to Hume. Back to Ballard. Equa, Ballard, and Equa, and again O'Nien. We're in the 57th minute, and Job giving it to Ballard, but it was a bad ball, and Ballard's won it back. Then Hackney wins it, and it bounces off him back to the goalkeeper, Anthony Patterson. Hackney's lying on the floor, the referee above him just looks down at cursory glance at him, then blows to stop play. 0-0 in the 57th minute, and just that stark statistic sort of sitting above me in my mind of only 3 wins in 33 at Middlesbrough.
You know, all I would be saying is that when we haven't got a ball, Equa, look where Barlaser is, pick him up. That's all you got to do. When we've got a ball, then you make yourself available.
Dan Barlaser, the Gateshead-born former Newcastle midfielder, signed from Rotherham in the summer after 3 years there. And what an astute signing. Here's Job tackled, but the ball goes to Hjelde and rolls down the touchline past Clark and Ayling back to the goalkeeper. Glover pushing it out to Vandenberg. To his right is Barlaser. And Fry in front of him was Barlaser. Down to Ayling on the right wing. Ayling now looking for the run of Force. Swept past him. O'Nien will get in front of the Finn and plays it back to Patterson, who's closed down here and he's in trouble, but Force put it behind. Greenwood and Force between them just crowded in on Patterson, and he lost the ball, and it bounced off Force and went behind.
How lucky are you?
Very lucky, very lucky.
You could say that could have gone anyway.
Could have done.
We're lucky that it went the other side of the post.
The other side of the post,
yeah. We lost the ball again.
And it's with Barlaser, with Fry, and Barlaser now to Vandenberg. Back here to Vandenberg. Fry, Hackney, across to Vandenberg, to Engel. Back to Fry. Back eventually to the goalkeeper, Glover. Tries to clear it down the right, goes out for a throw to Middlesbrough, off Hjelde. Nearly up to the hour mark.
Well done, Dan Neil. That's it, just look where Barlaser is. Just stop him.
Now Neil standing on the shoulder of Barlaser. Ayling's going to take the throw on the far side.
Know where he is.
Ball picked up by Howson. He's got support on the left. Engel here. Hume has to come across back inside now to Aziz, trying to roll in Force. Cleared by Hjelde. And now Neil trying to get away from... Neil pulls down Greenwood. And a free kick awarded to Middlesbrough. Neil arguing with the referee.
Yeah. We need to get hold of the game, Nick. It's drifting away from us.
Half an hour to play, just about. Free kick to Middlesbrough on the right side of central midfield.
Patrick Roberts, is it?
And he's warming up, Patrick Roberts. Suggests that Michael Beale's thinking about a change.
We need something, Nick.
Something different.
Yeah.
And Barlaser, of course, will take the free kick for Middlesbrough. Bar stands alongside Greenwood. Referee's having a word with Ayling and Ekwa. Ayling just stares at the floor, has a few words back, and then hugs Ekwa. That's nice. Wouldn't have happened in your day. You probably punched it like daylight's out. Free kick then. Well, now referee having a word with Dale Fry and Luke O'Nien, and pointing back at Ekwa and Ayling. He said, "Oh, now those two have made up and had a nice conversation. Can you two do the same? Now be good boys." Here's the free kick.
Just defend it.
From Barlaser. From the right. Just passes it short to Hackney, and he just taps it down to Aziz, and now Force smashes it in the bottom corner. That was a very well worked free kick. Marcus Force gives Middlesbrough the lead.
Yeah, good finish. You've got to give him that. Great finish. But you could feel, you know, we talked about the game drifting away from us.
They worked that very well. Sunderland didn't get a grip of it at all.
No.
Played into the penalty area from 12 yards. Marcus Force's 5th goal of the season. Hammered it low past Patterson into the corner. It was brought down well on the half volley by Force, and you've got to give him credit for the way he finished that.
Touch, great first touch with his left, finish it with his right. But look at Borough now, full of energy now.
Sunderland have got a lot to do now. They've got time though, but they've got to address this issue, as you've been saying. You know, the goal, I think you've been pretty much saying it's been coming from Middlesbrough. Now they've got their noses in front. Sunderland trying to get forwards, Hume, but it's Barlaser who clears. Forwards to Aziz, now into the middle to Hackney, and behind him is Howson. Leaves it for Fry. Vandenberg out to Engel on the left-hand side. Again, forwards to Aziz, back to Engel, and Engel back to Van den Berg. Forwards to Aziz on the left, sorry. Looking to try and get force through again through the middle. Helder heads it back to Patterson. Rusin's warming up now as well for Sunderland. Patrick Roberts and Rusin. O'Nien at the edge of his own penalty area. He's needing help really, and Clark wide of him now, still deep in the Sunderland half, Ayling on his shoulder. Clark pushing it straight at Hayden Hackney, comes off him for a throw.
I think you just knocked it on there then, Nick. It's about availability, people who are showing for the ball. We haven't got many options, have we?
I'm wondering if Rusin's going to come on for Burstow and Roberts for Barr. I mean, that would be obvious.
Too easy again.
Here's Hackney winning it now on the right, looking to try and get force in, goes down, picks himself up. The referee had a long look at it. Hjelder's tackle, he's got it clear, Hjelder, and it's put out by Burstow for a throw to Middlesbrough. Middlesbrough leading 1-0. We're in the 65th minute.
Now.
Roberts is going to come on. And watching Rusin as well, whether he's going to come. I think the pair of them are going to come on. Sunderland need to get a grip of the game in the second half. One down, and at the moment it's all Middlesbrough. Throw, Hjelder over on the left side, 18 yards from the corner, down the line, looking for Clark, headed away by Luke Ayling, up to Hayden Hackney, who heads it down to Hjelder. A block by Force, comes out to Neil. Neil looking to get it forward to Barr, but a foot stabbed in by Engel. It will break for Job, and Job trying to get it through to Burstow, comes under his legs, gets behind him, and comes through here to Engel, and Engel turns it back to Van den Berg, through the middle to Howson, Barlasser, Fry, wide to Ayling. Ayling now on the halfway line on the touchline, forwards down the right. Hayden Hackney, little flick through to Force, who tries a little back heel himself, but Ballard drives it against O'Nien. It breaks though for Middlesbrough. Aziz in the middle, trying to get away from Neil. Eventually it's Joe puts a foot to it, but straight back to a Middlesbrough player, and now out to Barlasser on the left here. Plays it back behind into Engel, out to Barlasser on the left again. Barlasser back to Engel. Engel back to Van den Berg, and Van den Berg into the centre circle, almost on the centre spot. Dale Fry wide to Luke Ayling. Clark goes to close him down. Marcus Force trying to get it. Clark's got it now through the middle. Neil to Ekwa. Behind him is Ballard to Ekwa again, and Ekwa now through the centre, trying to get it to Bairstow. Thought he was fouled, the referee doesn't. Now back with Greenwood. Greenwood wide to the left behind Engel, who keeps it in, and Engel now trying to drive it into the path of Greenwood in the penalty area, and he tries to flick it with his left foot under Patterson, puts it wide of the right post. Greenwood getting in again.
Exactly, again,
too wide.
Again. He made some great runs, hasn't he?
Yeah. So Barr coming off, Roberts coming on, 67th minute. And surely it'll be Burstow. Yeah. So double switch. Rusin goes up front, Roberts on the right. It's a straightforward swap. I think there must be Rusin's family away to our left here, clapping him. And the kick over the halfway line, and headed on by Fry, comes back to Hjelder. Hjelder right back to Patterson in his light blue. Forwards to O'Nien. O'Nien wide on the left. Clark has gone out. Throw to Middlesbrough, who lead 1-0. This 20 yards inside the Sunderland half. Ayling will take it.
I don't know what it is, Nick, but we've struggled in the second half, haven't we?
Have not really
we
got into
have
it
struggled big time.
Here they come again. Aziz is blocked. No free kick, says Darren England. Here's Ballard. Forwards to Ekwa. Ballas is all over him. Manages to get it to Neil. Neil is tackled and fouled by Force. And Neil quickly takes the free kick, gets it to Job on the left. Job out to Clark. Clark now trying to come in from Ayling. Ayling sticking with him. Clark trying to lose him and Force. Gets it down the left wing to Job, and Job inside to Neil. Neil looking, well, Royston didn't make the run soon enough, and Ayling will deal with this. Holds off the Ukrainian on the goal line, who's trying to win it back, give him his due. He's persistent, and Royston's not letting Ayling off the hook. He's now fouling. Free kick to Middlesbrough.
Well done, Royston.
A massive smile on Luke Ayling's face in front of the Sunderland fans. They're obviously having some banter with Ayling. He seems to be enjoying the whole affair. Force went down for a moment, it's been helped up. The referee having a word with Luke Ayling. He's still got a massive smile on his face and pointing back to the incident on the goal line with Roussin.
Talking about he's been elbowed.
Interesting. I mean, Roussin's not going to understand a word that Darren England's saying to him. But, free kick awarded to Middlesbrough. The goalkeeper's going to take this. And Middlesbrough lead in the 70th minute 1-0. Roussin trying to win it on halfway with Fry behind him. Falls for Ayling again. Ayling back to Vandenberg, out to Engel on this left-hand side. Michael Beale's in conversation with Mike Dodds. Discussion in the back of the technical area as Glover kicks this down the right, and it will drop over the shoulder of O'Nien for Hjelde to deal with. He manages to pass it straight to Luke Ayling on the right wing. Down the line again to Force, back to Ayling, and closed down by Ekwa, eventually out for a throw to Middlesbrough, off Ekwa. Deep in the Sunderland half on the right-hand side. They need something different, Sunderland. I mean, Roberts hasn't seen it yet.
He hasn't seen it. To be fair, we've been non-existent in the second half, Nick.
Yeah. Ayling then with the throw for Middlesbrough in their red. Drops to Barlassa. Ayling gets another throw on that far side. Borough leading by that Force goal in the 62nd minute. Ayling with his throw again for the home team. As Hackney and Job jostle, jockey for position. And now it's down the line, almost in the corner to Force. Hjelde's on his shoulder. And in the end, Hjelde wins the throw.
Yeah.
Down in the left corner. Hjelde then a couple of yards from the corner flag, down the line, headed out again by Howson. Hjelde will take the throw again, and Barlassa coming across to try and cut out the ball to Job, but it's won by Aziz, and Aziz, he's got plenty of time and space here. He plays it back to Engel, on the halfway line, to Fry, out to Ayling, who keeps it in on halfway on the right. And what a ball to Greenwood. And in fact, I say that it bounced a bit awkwardly up and away from him, and he's pulled something.
Yeah,
it's not comfortable. Greenwood, he's flexing his left knee. The throw taken by Hume, and then Ballard puts it out, and that would have been a pass if that had reached him.
I think Greenwood is struggling. They will make a substitution. I think he's struggling. To be fair, he's worked hard, hasn't he?
Yeah, he has, and he's just tapped it out again for another throw to Sunderland. In fact, I thought that came off Greenwood's foot, but it's a Middlesbrough throw. No complaints from the players, so Engel will take the throw for Middlesbrough, who lead 1-0. This down in the left corner, flicked back to him by Aziz. Barlaser on the left, trying to find Aziz, plays it back behind to Engel. Engel to Howson. Howson now to Engel again, and come what may here, Sunderland cannot afford to concede a second goal as Roberts fouls Hackney. It's been hard enough for them to get back in the game to score one, let alone going 2 down. They've got to really find a way of getting back into this game.
Yeah, they've got to defend this cross again. Who's on it? But Barlaser, he's the one who's the quality on the ball, passing. It's been fantastic.
Barlaser then from the left, 27-year-old. There's white boots. There's 5-6 yards in from touch. He curls it in with his right foot, headed away by Ballard, almost into the path on the far side of a Middlesbrough player, but it's cleared by O'Nien in the end. It was Fry who was coming in, I think, on that right side. But Sunderland get the ball away, and then a side foot from Tom Glover shakes Rusin off, and the ball played down the left, and Hume should get this back down to Ballard, who's under pressure from Greenwood, who pushed
He's got to get put now. He's going to get
Greenwood's going to get a card here. Greenwood shown a yellow. I think that's largely on accumulation, that one.
Yeah.
It's in the 75th minute. They've got a player down. Force, isn't it? He's been struggling a bit, actually, the last 10 minutes or so.
The thing is, Nick, you're looking at the team at the present moment, and you may be thinking, is there anything different? Are we any better? Have we turned the corner? Yes, we got a result against Stoke City, but yeah, we had a couple of good opportunities in the first half where we could have. Goals change games.
I think, yeah, they're making a change here.
Yeah, is it Coburn?
Josh Coburn's coming on, yeah. The young lad that was at Sunderland as a youngster, but then moved on. There's going to be a double switch because Sammy Silvera's coming on as well. So Middlesbrough looking to freshen things up.
Might be triple.
I think it looks like a triple.
Yeah.
I'm assuming that Greenwood's probably going to come off. Yeah, there's a third. O'Brien, who's on loan from Nottingham Forest, is
that Riley McGee coming on, is it? I'm not sure.
No, he's in Australia, isn't he?
Is he in Australia?
This is O'Brien. Force is coming off.
There's 3 coming on.
As you say, it's a triple substitution. It'll be Coburn, Silvera and O'Brien coming on. Force having to wait on the touchline. He's coming off, and it's Coburn who's replacing him. And Silvera, well, Silvera sprinted on in place of him. Silvera's coming on for Greenwood. And O'Brien will come on for Barlaser finally. So Lewis O'Brien, the former Huddersfield midfielder, who's on loan now from Nottingham Forest, having spent the first half of the season at DC United. So 3 changes for Middlesbrough. Rusin having a shirt change, because I think in that exchange with Ayling, he's cut his mouth. So it must be a blood check, and he's got a new shirt on now, Rusin. The ball is at the feet of Ballard for the free kick, which will eventually get taken after the foul by Greenwood. We're in the 78th minute. I think we'll have a couple of minutes for that added on at the end of the game.
Have you got to wait 30 seconds as well
before he can come on? O'Nien clearing this upfield. Ayling will let this run out for a throw to Middlesbrough. And Greenwood's heading.
What's that all about? 30 seconds. What's that?
I know.
Come on.
It's a nonsense, isn't it? Still waiting to come on, Rusin. Now he's allowed on by Lee Doughty, the 4th official offside against Josh Coburn. 5 goals this season, actually, the 21-year-old.
Yeah, he'll put himself about.
Yeah.
You'll know that you're in the game.
6'3" now. He spent last season on loan at Bristol Rovers. Roberts finally getting on the ball. Rusin back to Roberts. Rusin on his knees. Roberts getting the ball across to Neil on the left-hand side. Down the left to Hjelde. It's played back behind Neil, but it'll roll to O'Nien. Now to Neil, wide on the left. Silvera on his shoulder. Plays it to Ekwa in the centre circle. Forwards to Job. Job now in the middle, trying to find a way through. Leaves it for Neil to his left and out to Clark. Hjelde's making a dash down the left and a trip on Clark by Ayling. He's going to get a yellow card for that. And a free kick wide on the left in the 79th minute now for Sunderland. Some 11 minutes plus left.
Good quality ball he wanted.
Spray applied in front of Sami Silvera. Middlesbrough holding their line on the 18-yard line. Jack Clark stepping back now to the touchline. Right arm briefly raised. Whips this in here.
Good
Ballard's
ball.
header. Oh, just past the post. Flicked it
close
with his head just wide of the right-hand post.
Got
Sunderland's first chance in the 80th
if that
minute.
was on target, it was a goal. Keeper was struggling there.
He was. So 1-0 still to Middlesbrough in the Women's Championship as Clark weaves back into his own half, plays the ball across to the right. Roberts. It's Durham Women 2, Sheffield United Women 4, and it's 0-0 in the game between Reading and Sunderland Women at Reading. Here's Clark down the left here to Neil. Neil slipping it inside to Ekwa. Ekwa tackled. The ball will break though for Rusin. Rusin plays it behind it to O'Nien on the shoulder of Coburn, and it comes across to Ballard. And Ballard now down the right wing to Roberts. Roberts trying to dribble in, goes past Aziz, gets into the middle, curls a left foot ball in towards Hjelde's offside. Couldn't get on the end of it anyway, so it's a goal kick to Middlesbrough, leading with that Marcus Forss 62nd minute goal. Live on BBC Radio Newcastle. Glover, the goalkeeper, with his goal kick from the right side of the 6-yard box. And the ball picked up by Roberts, tackled by his, an advantage played after O'Brien was just caught, but it's played out to Silvera on the right-hand side. And Silvera makes a run, squares the ball into the box. O'Nien sticks a foot out, clears it, but it'll come back to Ayling, and now Silvera again. And back to Ayling, forwards again to Hackney. Silvera inside to Hackney, corner of the penalty area. And Ballard will somehow manage to get it off his knee onto the head of Hjelde, and lost by Job. But Finn gives it to Rusin, and Hjelde passes it out for a throw. So 1-0 still to Middlesbrough. The referee urging Ayling to get on with things. Halfway inside the Sunderland half in the 82nd minute. Another change imminent for Middlesbrough as the ball comes back to Engel on the halfway line. He has to chase it back. Reading 1, Sunderland Women 0 now in that game, which also kicked off at 12 o'clock today. As the ball comes back here from O'Brien to Engel. Back to Engel on the left. He's opened up a bit of space here to cross, and it's flicked past Ballard, O'Nien and Hjelde, but come out to Clark, and now Neil looking to get it down the left for Clark to sprint onto. Ayling is chasing him. Howson's come back too as well. Clark now trying to cut in the middle, looking for Rusin in near a bit of space. Rusin on his right. Oh! Rusin! Round the corner on the right, past Glover, and Sunderland equalise in the 83rd minute. He took his opportunity, Rusin, Lovely finish, great ball in from Clark, and it's level. Middlesbrough 1, Sunderland 1.
Well done, Rusyn. Excellent. And again, playing in the reserves midweek, got a couple of goals. He's had one touch on that and a good finish.
Tell you what, I think he's as surprised as the rest of us. Engels coming off for Middlesbrough. Thomas is coming off. Well, what a response from Sunderland. They've got themselves back in the game now. They've got to try and make sure they don't throw it away. 83rd minute.
Tell you what, good play by Clark as well, wasn't it?
Oh, lovely pass.
One to Ayling. He left Ayling trailing there.
Yeah, it did. And
but again, awareness, confident, switch to play. Good touch by Rusyn. Good finish.
Well, lovely finish. Will Glover feel he should have done better?
Yeah, I think he's caught him by surprise, Nick.
I think he was. We were. In fairness. So, you know, I didn't expect that. I saw Rusyn get it. I thought he was going to take it on. I didn't expect him to shoot. Well, what a lovely shot it was into that bottom corner.
Oh, he's given it the wrong. What are you doing, Lino? Lino
overruled the.
Well done, referee.
Given Sunderland the throw in front of Michael Beal, who will be, actually, if this ends 1-1, delighted, because Sunderland have been second best for much of the second half.
They have indeed, Nick, and you've got to say that was what, maybe our first or second.
Only the second attempt
in the second
80th
half.
80th minute header was the first. Here's Aziz trying to get through for Middlesbrough, tackled by Hume. Neal bringing it through the middle, looking for Clark's run again on the left. Can Clark take it on here again? Taking on Fry, taking on Ayling into the penalty area. Still going Clark. Clark now blocked by Ayling at the moment. He's got Jobe behind him. Jobe on his right. His shot is blocked by Howson. Comes out to Hume, leaves it for Ekwa, back to Ballard. And it's suddenly O'Nien and Sunderland who look like the likelier to score. Clark back to Hjelde. Back again to O'Nien, squares it to Ballard. 5 minutes of the 90 remain. Ballard looking for Rusyn again, cut out by Fry. Out to Aziz. And Aziz twists in front of Hume. And Aziz forced back by Hume.
Well done, good pressure.
Play it to the goalkeeper. Passing it to Fry. Closed down by Jobe. Up to the halfway line. Hjelde brings it down, knocks it past Silvera, finds Clark. Clark looking for the run of Jobe down the left of the penalty area. Fry gets in front of him, and the ball is shepherded behind for the goal kick to Middlesbrough. 1-1, 86th minute. Nazariy Rusyn with his second goal of the season. They're firing on all cylinders now, the strikers.
Can't stop scoring, huh?
Just can't stop scoring. Burstow last week, Rusyn this week. Who will it be next week? Here's Glover with the kick. Right through the middle, looking for Coburn. Headed back by O'Nien to Ballard. Middlesbrough fans think Coburn was fouled. Play goes on, ball goes out. Throw to Middlesbrough on halfway, which the substitute Luke Thomas will take. And he tries to find Aziz, but Ballard whips it away from him to Neal in the middle. Neal now to Clark. Ayling in front of him. Is Ayling? Because Clark's taking him on again. And Clark, in the end, a little touch from Ayling, but it's back with Clark, and he's fouled then by Silvera. And it's a free kick wide on the left for Sunderland.
Did he say he was ageing?
Ayling.
Oh.
He is ageing as well. But as it turns out, the changes that Middlesbrough made have probably helped Sunderland, haven't they?
Well, one thing's for sure is that they would be glad to see the back off Barlaser.
Clark then with the free kick from the left. Hume's left.
Good quality.
Listening to what Michael Beale's shouting at him as Clark puts this in too deep, and it bounces behind for a goal kick to Middlesbrough. I mean, yeah, it would be great to see Sunderland go on and snatch a winner here, but on the balance of play, they wouldn't deserve it. They've got to be thankful they could get a point from this game, actually. And that wonderful goal from Rusyn. Here he is on the left.
Tell you what, he's busy.
Clark, he gets himself about, puts himself around his Equa. Equa through to Hjelde, lets it run through now, little flick through to Clark. Clark into the penalty area, trying to take on Howson, squaring it.
Nobody there.
Oh, it's lost by the goalkeeper and hooked away.
They've got a gamble.
Vandenberg. And now it's Sunderland throwing everything at Middlesbrough. Saying they could snatch it. Here's Hjelde finding Equa on the left here now. He crosses, looking for Rusin, can't get underneath it, and it bounces to the goalkeeper. He kicks. Coburn is the target. O'Nien's on his shoulder, tugging shirts, the pair of them. It drops for Coburn. He slips it inside to Hackney, and Hackney now finds Coburn again. He's tackled by O'Nien to Neil. Neil gives it away to Howson, trying to win it back. Howson gets it to Silvera, but Howson penalised for a foul on Neil. And a free kick on the halfway line on the left of the centre circle to Sunderland.
Yeah, it's changed, hasn't it? The atmosphere's changed, the tempo's changed. Sunderland have changed, they've got a little bit more belief now, haven't they?
89th minute. Middlesbrough 1, Sunderland 1. Comes back here to O'Nien, now to Ballard. Hume on the right. Hume looking for Job, trying to flick it on past Vandenberg. Brings it down to O'Brien, but Job, persistent, gets the ball back, tries to find Rusin. Rusin finds Job. Job in the middle, gets out to the left to Clark. Clark now taking on Ayling, cuts inside of him, gets it through to Job in the penalty area on the corner. And Job now, Equa's just behind him, he plays it back behind him to Hjelde, and now to Equa. And Hjelde, well, the ball played inside to Clark, into the penalty area, blocked by Ayling, could run for Rusin, and now Clark across the 6-yard box, and Thomas almost put it in his own net, put it past the post, but I think even he thought he might have scored himself then. First corner of the second half. That could have gone either side of the post.
Who looks nervous now? Middlesbrough.
Whoa. This is a turnaround in the last 10 minutes.
I think they want the whistle.
Corner from the right, first corner of the second half. Roberts is going to take it. Sunderland trying to snatch victory here.
And there's a scrum
6 minutes of time being added on. The ball is,
put the ball in.
6 minutes added time. Minimum is 6 minutes.
We're into those. Middlesbrough will be thinking, oh no. Corner will have to be taken again. The referee's gone into the scrum.
Isn't he?
We need a scrum half. He's acting as a scrum half, the referee. It's 4 yellow against 5 red, and they break now, and the cross from the right, the corner, headed away by Vandenberg, back down the left. Ballard's scrambling, Rusin scrambling to keep it in, but he tries to cross off the back of a defender, comes to Clark. Clark now pulls it right back to Hume in the centre circle. Middlesbrough urged to pull out, and Sunderland urged to push on. Neil out to Roberts on the right wing, trying to cut inside Thomas, weaving away from him, trying to turn him, and he does, and now getting away from Thomas. Corner of the penalty area, Roberts still going, trying to find Equa. It bobbles around in front of everybody, and eventually Equa trying to clip it over to Clark, who's offside, and a free kick on the right of the penalty area to Middlesbrough, who push it out quickly. Ayling to Silvera. Silvera now tackled and fouled by Equa, and Equa's going to get a yellow card. So now we are in the 92nd minute, and Equa is booked. Free kick to Middlesbrough. Is there fans just come up?
Yeah.
What's it? Unbelievable.
Yeah?
What are you doing?
Huh? It's all going on.
Everything's happening here. Right, free kick from the right, 92nd minute. Middlesbrough 1, Sunderland 1. It's taken short down the right to Ayling. Ayling inside now to O'Brien. Nobody's closed him down. His shot's gone over the bar. And goal kick to Sunderland. Should they be happy with a point? Should they go for the win here?
Settle for the point, Nick.
Yeah. Slow things down, just make sure you don't lose the game.
You've got to say it's only the last 10 minutes, 15 minutes of this second half we've come to life, or had that belief that we can go and win.
Yeah. O'Nien's kick long, up towards Job, headed away by Fry. Equa gets underneath it. Rusin on the shoulder of Vandenberg, down the left of the Middlesbrough penalty area, down towards the corner, tries to cross into the box. It comes into the goalkeeper. We're in the 3rd minute of the 6th being added on. Kicked right down the left wing and out for a throw to Sunderland. You can really see the height, Coburn's height. He's a big lad, isn't he?
Yeah.
Ballard rolling it back to Patterson. Coburn goes to close him down, out to Neil. Ballard up to the halfway line. Thomas underneath it to Howson. Vandenberg drives it straight at Hume, lifting it over the top if he can for Job to try and run onto this. The keeper comes out. Ooh, did he catch it outside the area? No.
He's done well there, Glover.
Very lucky. Played to Fry, out to Howson. Howson now out wide to Thomas. Thomas looking to play it down the left wing to O'Brien, but Ballard gets in front of him. Passes it back to Patterson, who kicked it out. Up to halfway. Howson nods it down. Ayling will get to it before Neil, then goes Job in again and gets it to Ekwa, who heads it on to Hume. Hume gets it down from Thomas's header, and Ballard out on the right now to Roberts in front of Michael Carrick. 94th minute, tackled by Thomas, stuck a foot out onto halfway. Hackney comes back to Rusin. Rusin thought he was fouled, the referee doesn't, and Ayling now on the break on the right hand side for Middlesbrough. Halfway inside the Sunderland half, he's looking for Coburn, who gets his head on it but over the bar with Ballard on his shoulder. Both are on the floor. Clash of heads. And we've only got less than 2 minutes of the 6 minutes left, but there'll be more now because of these two. Ballard's still down. Coburn's getting himself to his feet. Ballard is on his back.
1-1 first score.
Sits up. Do you know how many times I've been asked what do I think the score would be this week? I said 1-1, and I think I'd take it. And we said both, I think, before the game, take one. We take a draw, take a point.
Definitely.
And on the basis of the second half, when they didn't look like they were going to get back in the game 1-0, it looked like they were second best. They've done well to get back in and again, actually look like the team who could go on to win it.
To be fair, substitutions have worked.
They've worked in both senses.
Yeah.
Sunderland's have worked because Rusin's come on and scored, and actually Burrows have worked against them in favour of Sunderland. Rusin's down and the whistle's blown. We're in the last minute technically now, but I think we'll get a bit more. Free kick for Middlesbrough, just back inside their half. The referee's picked the ball up.
He's going on
because Hjelder's down now as well. Hjelder's back up on his feet.
I thought he was going on with the ball.
I'm taking my ball home now. I've had enough.
No, that's it.
Hjelder's being spoken to. A few words. I mean, Darren England could have saved his breath there, couldn't he, really? I mean, it's 96th minute, come on. Give yourself a break, man.
I've got to say, I've been impressed with Hjelder. He's done well.
He's done all right.
For his first game.
Drop ball.
Likes to get forward. He's got a little bit about him.
To O'Brien. We're nearly up the 6 minutes, but I think we'll be playing on a little bit further. They're looking for Coburn. Ballard's getting in front of him. Comes away to the right here. Ballard pushed over by Coburn. Much the anger of the home form fans, those that are still here. And a free kick to Sunderland on the right wing. Ballard's down again and making the most of it. Clutching his neck, back of his head. Hume crouched over Dan Ballard's, lying on the touchline. Referee bent over Ballard, who's still got both hands up to his throat here, Dan Ballard, on the side of the pitch. I'm not quite sure what's happened there. Is it his shoulder?
Shoulder.
Right shoulder. I think his shoulder's gone, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's what he was. It's his left shoulder's gone.
He's fallen on that. I hope it hasn't, Nick,
I mean, we talked about
this. A major blow.
He's obviously in pain, and we've been talking about the 9 yellow cards. Never even thought about the prospect of injury, but he's in pain here, I think, Ballard.
I hope it's not being knocked out of place.
He's
in pain.
He's in pain. I've got a horrible feeling it might have been dislocated.
It is.
This is not good news for Sunderland. It's not good news for Dan Ballard, but he's clearly in pain. He's clutching his left shoulder. He's been helped off the pitch, literally just picked up and lifted off, and Sealt's going to come on. And they, well, I wonder what the diagnosis is for Dan Ballard. You've got to hope there's nothing serious and just bruised it or just jarred it when he fell. But he's off now, and Sealt is on. The 97th minute, creeping up to nearly 98 minutes played now. In fact, the referee's going to blow there. You know
that's
what?
A good point. That's a good point. I'll take that. I'll take that.
Sealt barely got on.
You're talking, what, 5 seconds? He knows by the time he kicks that ball he was going to blow his whistle. Why didn't he just blow it while he was up?
Maybe there's a...
End the game.
I do agree with that.
Maybe there's a protocol, Benno. Maybe there's a protocol. Like waiting for 30 seconds.
That came from nowhere, really. Didn't look like we were going to get anything.
Who knows? Who knows?
Well, the Sunderland fans are definitely happy with the two.
As Ballard is walking slowly.
Listen, guys,
down
thank you everyone for coming into the
here,
channel and supporting the channel.
Shoulder.
And clicking the sub button if you have.
Yeah, I take that point all day
no
long.
Problem,
on the
Derek.
basis
Anytime
of the second half. 1-0 Middlesbrough.
I do appreciate everybody tuning in.
Having basically dominated the second half.
Cheers, Billy Fly. Cheers, Ed. I know I don't speak. I don't when the match is on. I want you guys to just hear the whole commentary. You're not here for me. You're here to listen to the lads.
And
that's why I keep on.
Yeah, and we talked about Balassa. He was
welcome,
pulling
Kirsty.
the strings, wasn't he? You know, they took him off, which we was glad to see the back off. And you've got to say, all of a sudden, Middlesbrough maybe lost the way, which allowed Sunderland to get back into the game. And Rusin, you've got to say, excellent finish. Hopefully he can go on from there.
Fascinating game, because Sunderland could have had 2 or 3 in the first half. They could have been well in front by half time, but just couldn't finish. Bar from 3 yards, one cleared off the line. But then that second half, as you say, Barlassa driving everything for Middlesbrough.
Absolutely.
Middlesbrough just had Sunderland camp back in their own half, and they couldn't find a way out. Couldn't find a way out in terms of a tactic which actually break the game up again and let them back in, if you like.
And again, you just think that, you know,
Michael to start next game, do you think?
With the likes of Equa, you know, and Bard, you know, demanding a little bit more effort from them, you know, because at times I think they're just strolling through the game.
You're welcome, Alan. Thanks for tuning in. You're welcome, Mackham. Thank you.
The game.
Michael Proctor just thanking Rusin for his goal. Do you think Michael Proctor will take credit for that?
Thank you.
On the training pitch?
He's the
striking coach.
Topsy, that's not the best.
But honestly, I didn't see that coming from Rusin. I thought he was going to take the ball on and take it in, and that shot.
I think that shows a little bit of confidence that he's got.
Yeah.
You know, to take a shot like that, excellent. Caught the keeper out.
It's caught me out.
Because when he looked back out, I think the keeper should have got to it.
I thought the keeper, he would have thought he should have done better.
Yeah.
So a good point on the road for Sunderland. Still haven't won here for a long time. 3 wins to 34 now, but a good point to build on ahead of next week's home game against Plymouth Argyle. Total Sport tomorrow night, 6 o'clock. We'll look back at this game with Marco and Friday. It's finished here. Middlesbrough 1, Sunderland 1 in front of 31,716 at the Riverside.
I think we could have done with Ballard picking
up
the yellow.
Just defend it.
Looks like an injury and would have served his suspension
from the right.
Just
passes it short to Hackney, and he just taps it down to Aziz, and now Ford.
A hard-earned point. Lads to
corner. That was a very well-worked free kick. Marcus Force gives Middlesbrough the lead. Clark now trying to cut in the middle, looking for Rusin near a bit of space. Rusin on his right.
Keith, thank God I found our channel, mate. Cheers.
Rusin!
You're welcome, mate. You're welcome. Anytime, mate. Every single game.
Glover, and Sunderland equalise in the 83rd minute.
Yeah, some more. Here we go. Happy with the draw in the end. Feed the worst second half. As Sunderland just looked to run out the field and had nothing.
And it's level. Middlesbrough 1, Sunderland 1.
Great bit of vision from Rusin. Doesn't matter if they keep
Total Sport North East.
On the station with Newcastle and Sunderland commentary exclusively live.
BBC Radio Newcastle.
Yeah, a lot of people basically saying hard-earned points.
On the BBC Sounds app, on your smart speaker,
play BBC Radio Newcastle,
and on your radio.
The sound of the North East is BBC Radio Newcastle.
It's the fact like how flat we looked at the first 20 minutes in the second half. We need to put our foot on the gas right from the off.
Police in London are offering a reward of £20,000 for information that could lead to the arrest of a man suspected of attacking a woman with a corrosive substance. Abdul Shakur
last 25 minutes
was last seen
was absolutely
a few
what we
hours
should
after the
expect
attack on Wednesday night. A woman known to him suffered injuries thought to be life-changing. Alison Hodgkinson-Brown
He's one more
reports.
good point.
Police appeal for information leading to Abdul Shakur Azadi's arrest. Investigators believe there are people who know where he is but have not come forward. Mr. Azadi was last seen coming out of Tower Hill Station at around 9:30 on Wednesday night, 2 hours after the attack.
He's one more comment, lads. One more comment. Last 25 minutes was absolutely what we should inspire a player like for 90 minutes, week in, week out. The 30 minutes from half-time was absolutely horrendous to watch. That's your socials.
The mother of the murdered teenager, Brianna Jai from Warrington, says she doesn't hold any hate for her daughter's killers. Scarlett Jenkinson and Eddie Radcliffe, who are both 16, were given life sentences last week. Esther Jai also told the BBC that she was open to speaking to the mother of Scarlett Jenkinson and that she felt compassion for her.
When I think of their emotions and how they're feeling, it just brings back how I felt when all this happened in February. Because, yeah, she looks completely broken, really, and rightly so. She's going through an absolutely horrific time.
A woman in Essex has died after being attacked by 2 dogs. She was found seriously injured in Jaywick near Clacton yesterday evening. A 39-year-old man has been arrested. Police say the breed of the dog is currently being investigated.
So there we go, I will end the stream now, guys. Keep an eye out for me match review and loads more videos coming your way.
The US and the UK launched another wave of airstrikes on Yemen in response to the attacks by the group on shipping vessels in the Red Sea.
Thanks for tuning in. See you later.